As Luo Feng walked away, Su Gang took a slow sip from his cup, his eyes glinting with a calculating light. He muttered under his breath, Luo Feng, oh Luo Feng, I was being polite by giving you some face just now. I hope you understand. If you continue to bother my sister, I won't hesitate to take matters into my own hands. With a smirk, he downed the last of his drink, setting the cup down with a decisive clink. Xian, I've got some things to take care of. I'll be heading out first, Su Gang said to his sister at the bar before making his exit. On the third floor of the HR Alliance Market, inside a quiet tea house, Luo Feng sat with his teammates. Luo Feng, Chengu chuckled, his eyes twinkling mischievously. You talked to Su Xian for quite a while. If you ask me, she seems a little interested in you. Shouldn't be too hard to win her over. Huh. Then her brother spent so long chatting with you afterward. Could it be that he's already accepting you as his future brother-in-law? Luo Feng couldn't help but laugh at the ridiculous assumption. If only Chengu had heard what Su Gang had actually said. Don't talk nonsense. We were just classmates back in the day, Luo Feng replied with a shrug. Gao Feng grinned. That actually makes it easier for you. A lot of married couples these days started off as classmates. Yeah, Luo Feng, go for it. Wei Tai chimed in dramatically, laughing. Su Xian is really something. Plenty of fighters talk about the Underground Alliance bar's manager on weekends, but no one dares to mess with her because of her background. Luo Feng chuckled. Trying to fool around with the madam of the Su family? Those fools wouldn't even realize how they died. All right, let's drop this topic and get back to business, Luo Feng said, steering the conversation away. Gao Feng nodded. Fair enough. Now, you three, how are your body fitness levels looking? Wei Tai set down his teacup and answered first. Captain, my fist strength is around 9,650 kilograms. My speed is 102 meters per second, and my reaction speed qualifies for a beginner warlord. So you've officially stepped into the beginner warlord level, Gao Feng acknowledged with a nod. Wei Qing spoke next. Captain, my fist strength is about 9,510 kilograms. My speed is 106 meters per second, and my reaction speed also meets the beginner warlord level. Both Gao Feng and Luo Feng nodded in approval. All right, my turn, Chen Gu said with a grin. My fist strength is about 7,100 kilograms. Speed is 81 meters per second, and my reaction speed was graded excellent for a beginner warlord. Brother Chen's reaction speed is impressive, Luo Feng praised sincerely. Gao Feng chuckled. That's expected. He uses guns, so his reaction speed was already high. The genetic medicine only made it better. Now he can handle even faster weapons. A fighter who relied on firearms reaching the beginner warlord level in reaction speed was rare. Chengu had even managed to get an excellent grade, proving his talent. Looks like the genetic medicine is paying off, Gao Feng remarked, turning to the Wei brothers. Keep training hard. The effects of the genetic medicine haven't completely faded yet. If you push yourselves now, you can still squeeze out more gains. Understood, the Wei brothers replied in unison. Gao Feng then turned to Chengu. Old Chen, time to upgrade your machine gun. Yeah, I've been thinking the same, Chengu agreed. His weaponry consisted of a machine gun and a heavy sniper rifle. His current machine gun fired at a maximum rate of 300 rounds per minute, 5 per second. With his previous reaction speed, he could ensure that 4 bullets hit their targets precisely in the head, while the last one would strike a monster's body. I'll probably go for the RG-112 heavy machine gun, Chengu mused, his eyes lighting up. It has a 12.7 millimeters caliber and immense firepower. The max rate of fire is 1,500 rounds per minute, making it one of the fastest usable by fighters like me. Anything beyond that would just be inefficient. Some machine guns had insane firing speeds, 7,000 or even 10,000 rounds per minute, but that was excessive. What mattered was precision, not just sheer volume. Good choice. Once you get it, train until you're fully accustomed to it, Gao Feng advised before shifting his focus back to the group. Wei Tai, Wei Qing, same goes for you. You need to refine your combat skills to fully utilize your enhanced strength. We won't slack off, Captain, they promised. Luo Feng smiled as he watched his team. Chinese fighters believed in fully mastering their strength before charging into battle. Unlike the Western mindset, which emphasized raw power, Eastern martial traditions valued refined control. The strongest fighter in the world, Hong, was Chinese. The second strongest, Thunder God, had mixed heritage but still carried some Chinese blood. The philosophies of Chinese martial arts were deeply respected in the modern fighter community. Luo Feng took a deep breath and spoke up. Captain, Brother Chen, Brother Tai, Brother Qing, I've been training hard at home for the past month, and my strength has definitely improved. But I feel like the best way to refine my skills is through real combat. No amount of solo practice can match the experience of actual battle. He paused, then made his decision clear. So, I'm planning to enter the wilderness alone to hone my blade techniques. The atmosphere instantly tensed. Alone? Gao Feng, Chen Gu, and the others stared at him in shock. Luo Feng nodded with a smile. Yes. In truth, he had considered this for a while, but wasn't completely sure. However, Su Gang's words had struck a chord with him. If he truly wanted to become the strongest fighter on Earth, he had to be decisive. This was the most effective way to sharpen his skills. That's too dangerous, Gao Feng objected immediately. Don't worry, Captain, Luo Feng reassured him. I'm only going to the number 0231 country-level city near the military's resupply base. I won't be venturing into larger, more dangerous cities. Number 0231 country-level city near the resupply base. Gao Feng repeated, exhaling in relief. The others visibly relaxed as well. The monsters near the resupply base were relatively weak. Horde leader-level beasts avoided that area, meaning most of the monsters present were at the soldier level. While there were some commander-level creatures, they were mostly low-rank commanders, with even intermediate ones being rare. In that case, it makes sense, Luo Feng continued. I can hunt during the day and return to the resupply base at night to rest. That's a solid plan, Gao Feng admitted. Still be careful. If a horde surrounds you, Captain, you forget Luo Feng is a spirit reader, Chenggu interrupted with a grin. He's probably the least vulnerable to being surrounded. Wei Tai and Wei Qing exchanged glances before breaking into laughter. It was true. While ordinary fighters could be overwhelmed by hordes, spirit readers had the advantage of flight. Luo Feng could simply rise above the battlefield and escape if necessary. All right then, Gao Feng finally conceded. When are you leaving? I'll prepare today and head out tomorrow, Luo Feng replied. Captain, message me when you're ready to go on the next expedition. He knew the road to greatness was paved with hardship, but if he wanted to stand at the pinnacle, he had to walk it step by bitter step. Since deciding to enter the wilderness, Luo Feng had no hesitation. That afternoon, in Yangzhou City's Mingyue sector, he informed his father, mother, and brother about his plans. Ever since he had chosen the path of a free fighter, his family had mentally prepared themselves for the reality that he would often leave the city. Night fell, and the starlight streamed through the square-shaped glass of the training hall. A video played on the white wall, displaying a brutal battle. A warrior was engaged in a life-or-death struggle with a towering bear monster, nearly 9 meters tall. With each clash, trees splintered, rocks shattered, and the ground cracked beneath their immense force. The fighter moved with the swiftness of lightning, his blade crackling with an undercurrent of thunderous power. The narrator's voice echoed in the training hall, explaining the combat techniques being showcased. This was one of the training videos included in the 9-stage Thunder Blade instruction manual. An A-rank monster, the boulder bear statue. Despite its massive build, it can still reach the speed of sound. Luo Feng listened intently, his heart pounding. The footage featured a seasoned warrior who had mastered the 9-stage Thunderblade style, taking on one of the strongest bear-type monsters. The boulder bear statue was ranked second among its kind. According to the classification system, soldier levels, H, G, F. Commander levels, E, D, C, low, mid-high. Horde leader levels, B, A, S. This boulder bear statue was a mid-level horde leader, boasting unparalleled strength. Even a cannon blast couldn't penetrate its rock-like skin, harder than diamond. Yet, despite its bulk, it could move at supersonic speed, making it a true menace. Boom! A thunderous roar filled the hall as the warrior's blade cleaved through the monster's colossal head, sending it flying through the air. Did you get that on record? Sell it later, and don't forget the copyright fees, the victorious warrior jested. His voice carried across the hall, but his face was blurred, ensuring his anonymity. Ka! The video ended, and the screen returned to the menu, showing a list of training channels. I wonder when I'll reach the level where I can slay a boulder bear statue in a single strike, Luo Feng mused. The fighter in the video had treated the battle with such ease. Clearly, he was an advanced-level war god. The 9-stage Thunderblade discs were restricted on certain channels. Many top-tier warriors practiced the 9-stage Thunderblade style, but only one channel featured Thunder God himself. In his video, he simply trained alone in a hall. It was a quiet scene, yet Luo Feng couldn't help but feel the power radiating from the recording. There are many elite fighters across the world honing their skills with the 9-stage Thunderblade, Luo Feng thought as he gazed out the window at the endless night sky. Tomorrow, his arduous training would begin. With a deep breath, he switched off the projector and made his way downstairs. The door to his brother's room on the first floor was slightly ajar. Peeking in, Luo Feng saw Luo Hua seated at his desk, his wheelchair positioned before the computer. However, he wasn't using the screen, his head was lowered, focused on his phone. Luo Feng knocked lightly. His brother looked up and grinned. Brother, you don't even knock anymore? You're the one who left the door open. Luo Feng laughed as he stepped inside and shut the door. What are you up to? Texting your girlfriend? Yeah. Luo Hua chuckled, his smile widening. Seeing his brother's expression, Luo Feng could tell that Luo Hua genuinely liked Xiaonan. He hadn't met her personally, but their parents had, and they seemed to have a favorable impression of her. Has she introduced you to her parents yet? Luo Feng asked. Not yet. It's still early for that, Luo Hua replied with a small sigh. Xiaonan just started college. She's got 3 or 4 years left before she graduates. She isn't in a hurry to tell her family about us. Plus, I'm handicapped. She probably needs to think of a way to bring it up carefully. Most parents wouldn't be thrilled about their daughter marrying someone like me. Luo Feng's heart ached at his brother's words. His disability was a deep wound, a constant source of insecurity. No matter how strong he tried to appear, in matters of love, he couldn't shake his self-doubt. Don't overthink it. If she truly cares about you, her parents will come around in time, Luo Feng reassured him. Just take things one step at a time. That night, the brothers talked for hours. The next morning, Luo Feng rose early, fully equipped with his backpack, shield, and blade. This time, he was heading into the wilderness alone. Jiangnan City, northern military sector. When the train pulled into the military station, Luo Feng and several other fighters disembarked. The air smelled of metal and sweat, the unmistakable scent of battle. The wilderness. Luo Feng inhaled deeply, feeling the excitement course through him. He set off toward the resupply base. Luo Feng? Just you. The guardsman at the gate scanned his ID and raised an eyebrow. Weren't you with the Firehammer squad before? Going solo is dangerous. Luo Feng grinned. You think I got a death wish? I know the risks. Just give me the key. The guard chuckled. Fair enough. You've been out here before. You know the dangers. He handed Luo Feng a key. H322. Since you're alone, I assigned you a smaller villa. The big ones are for squads. Got it. Thanks. Oh, and call me Brother Wang. If you find any valuable monster materials, sell them to me. I'll get you the best price. I'll keep that in mind. As Luo Feng took the key and headed toward his lodging, a group of men observed him from a second-floor window of another villa. That's Luo Feng. Yeah, from the Firehammer squad. Captain, should we take him out? Zhang Zhe, who of the Tiger Fang squad, asked eagerly. The squad captain stepped forward, watching Luo Feng disappear from view. His expression was cold and calculating. Why is he alone? Where's the rest of the Firehammer squad? Nowhere in sight, one of the others confirmed. Zhang Zhe, who smirked. Captain, we were the ones who struck first against the Firehammer squad. They know we did it. Sooner or later, they'll retaliate. You said it yourself. We need to eliminate them before they become a real problem. The captain's eyes narrowed. You're not wrong. But Luo Feng is just one warrior. He'll stick to the safer zones. Killing him now won't benefit us. It'll just provoke his team. The squad members nodded, realizing the logic. Our real target is twin Hammer Gao Feng, the captain declared. He's strong, experienced, and has connections. If we take him out first, the rest will crumble. Zhang Zhe, who sneered. Fine, let's let Luo Feng live. For now. Meanwhile, inside H322, Luo Feng relaxed after a bath, ordering a meal. After lunch, I'll head to the number 0231 country-level city. He clenched his fists. If I cross paths with the Tiger Fong squad, I'll make sure they regret ever crossing me. His eyes burned with cold resolve. In the wilderness, there are no second chances. When the time comes, I will destroy.
Hey, welcome to Firescale Audiobooks. If you enjoy our audiobooks, please consider subscribing to the channel. Also, feel free to share your review in the comments section below.
After eating lunch, Luo Feng put his battle uniform on, carried a shield and blade on his back, and inserted the 8-6 series throwing knives and 2-9 series throwing knives into the pockets on his thighs. After that, Luo Feng left the fighter resupplying base. Today was a dark day. The air is quite fresh, though. Without wielding his blade, Luo Feng headed into the wilderness. The piece of wilderness in front of him was probably farmland in the past. However, after a few decades, it has been filled with weeds. Luo Feng searched for a path with the shortest weeds to continue on. After getting past that part and walking for around half an hour on the old, ruined highway, he arrived at the number 0231 country-level city. Pew! Luo Feng cut off the tail of a lion mastiff, took the tendon out, and then put the tendon in his bag. From the resupplying base to the country city, in just a short trip of 100 miles, Luo Feng already killed around a dozen normal soldier-level monsters. Free training every day, where I can even earn money off of it. Where would you find something like that? Smiled Luo Feng slightly as he continued to walk in a ruined residential sector. There were quite a few monsters lurking around in this deserted sector. Luo Feng raised his head and spotted a monster shadow on the third floor of a residential apartment in front of him. Officially begin training. Luo Feng ferociously stepped on the floor, causing a rumbling sound and splitting open the concrete floor, and flew towards the balcony of that third floor like a cannonball. Days of slaughter begin. After a few days, most of the monsters in the city have already perished since Luo Feng started lurking in this number 0231 country-level city. Unlike other monsters, Luo Feng doesn't kill them immediately. He'll first fight with them for a bit for practice, and then take action. Luo Feng always brings a bulging bag of the most important materials from the monster's back to the resupplying base. The resupplying base's Wang Wei was also very astonished by Luo Feng's efficiency. Luo Feng's third day of training. Looks like you killed 198 monsters today, around a dozen less than yesterday. And most of these are high-level soldiers. I'll round it up for you, 1.5 million. How's that sound? Luo Feng's seventh day of training. Damn, Luo Feng, you're crazy. You killed 210 monsters today, too? I'll give you a price of 1.6 million. It's not like we only traded once or twice. So I'll tell you now, brother. Killing soldier-level monsters isn't that easy. Many of them form hordes, so you won't be so successful every time. Make sure you don't get surrounded. Luo Feng's 16th day of training. Crazy 182 monsters, just around average today. However, the quality of the materials are pretty good, and there are even snake-type monsters. I'll give you 1.5 million inch. Note, as in Luo Feng's nickname. Luo Feng's 21st day of training. Crazy. Tell me, have you found a certain location where soldier-level monsters act independently? And when you kill them, another one will quickly appear? The fighter resupplying base wasn't that large, so it was impossible to hide. Rumors about Luo Feng quickly spread around the entire resupplying base, about a crazy person who kills soldier-level monsters every day for money, using quantity over quality. One low-level commander-level monster could be worth around 10 million, but you can quickly catch up to that price with 1,000 high-level soldier-level monsters. However, n/o/vel/b// and .c//om. Killing 1,000 high-level soldiers is much more difficult than killing one low-level commander. Most soldier-level monsters act in hordes, so it's extremely rare to find them acting independently. That crazy Luo Feng, he's killing soldier-level monsters like mad. How does he do it? How is he able to kill so many in a day? Who knows? And even if someone knew the secret, who'd be willing to tell? However, I heard that he's able to earn around 1 million every day, nearing 2 million. If this goes on, he'll be able to make 50 to 60 million in a month. In a year, that's 500 to 600 million, which is comparable to powerful warlord-level fighters. 365 days a year, killing soldier-level monsters like crazy every day? No human can take that. Don't know, but that crazy has been going on like this for a month. There were tons of people discussing about Luo Feng in the resupplying base. For the warrior-level fighters, they admired Luo Feng. Warrior-level fighters aren't able to make money that easily. Even advanced warriors like Zhang, Hu, and the Wei Jiao brothers only make around 50 to 60 million in a year. For the beginner and intermediate levels, 10 million a year is pretty good. And Luo Feng earns 50 to 60 million in just 1 month. Crazy. Of course, for the warlord fighters, they're just amazed for a bit. They wouldn't waste their time on things like this. As for the powerful war god fighters that occasionally enter the resupplying base, they would just sigh. This kiddo is quite crazy. Interesting. November 29th, 2056, the sky was dark and the winds were harshly blowing. On the first floor in some city market, 10 huge horned boars were howling as they continuously mobbed one youth. The howling kept rumbling throughout the city, and a few shells were already smashed into pieces. The horned boars were completely enraged and attacked crazily. The youth had a hexagonal shield in one hand and a ghost blade in the other. He swayed like a butterfly, while his movements caused a few afterimages to appear. One word quick: attack. Luo Feng, who kept dodging, instantly moved the ghost blade in his hand. In this instant, a few slight sounds like thunder could be heard. Oh, indeed. They said that once your blade reaches a certain level, the air around it will start making this sound. The blade drew across the neck of every horned boar with unrivaled accuracy. Combining that with his footwork caused the power to be even more amazing. Even though there were many horned boars, only 2 or 3 could attack Luo Feng at the same time. Every time he killed 1 or 2, Luo Feng was always able to use the corpses of the monsters to find some opening and avoid getting slammed by the monster horde. Even many warlord fighters can't handle their surroundings so accurately. Pew! The fresh blood of the horned boar shot out like water from a fountain. In just a moment, half of the couple dozen horned boars were killed, and another 10 horned boars ran away after things turned bad. This isn't good. If it's not a high-level soldier, it's not worth money. Luo Feng picked out 19 high-level soldiers out of all the corpses of the horned boars. He cut off their horns and put them into his bag. The horns of a high-level soldier are worth around $8,000 if I sell them to the Underground Alliance. As for the other corpses of the horned boars, Luo Feng was too lazy to bother with them. However, Luo Feng didn't really like collecting the horns of the horned boars. Not only were they a bit heavy, but their prices were just average. Since his bag has limited space, he only collects materials from around 75% of the monsters he killed. The actual number of monsters he killed every day was over 300. It couldn't be helped who was the one that made the reproduction rate of the boar-type and dog-type monsters so high. After leaving the city that reeked of blood, Luo Feng came to the roof of a normal 6-story residential apartment to rest. After training for the past 50 days, my technique barely steps into the Ru Wei class. Luo Feng didn't use all of that training to just kill. Every time he fought with a small group of monsters, Luo Feng first undergoes technique training, and then he kills them. This way, Luo Feng's efficiency would be very high. Of course, in the past 50 days, Luo Feng was in danger around 20 or so times. Since the howls of the dying monsters occasionally attracts even more monsters. facing a few hundred to even over 1,000 enraged monsters. Luo Feng could only use his spiritual force to flee in panic. You could say, without his spiritual force, Luo Feng would have died around 20 times already. But it was because he possessed his spiritual force that Luo Feng was able to use such an insane training method. For over 8 hours a day, every day, he's surrounded by large amounts of enraged monsters. The effects of one day of Luo Feng's training could equal a month of an average fighter's training in the wilderness. And an average fighter only enters the wilderness a few times a year. With these 50 days of training, along with the Lu Guang technique from the 9-stage Thunderblade, Luo Feng finally barely steps into the Ruwei class. My technique steps into the Ruwei class. However, my blade is still only on the first stage of the Thunderblade. Luo Feng constantly tried to unleash the second stage, but unfortunately, he couldn't. However, who knows how much more control Luo Feng has over his power? Know that, in the past 50 days, Luo Feng killed over 10,000 monsters. 10,000 monsters. Most fighters wouldn't kill that many monsters in their entire lives. Such an enormous amount was what created Luo Feng's precise, clean, and sharp blade technique. The biggest thing Luo Feng gained from the past 50 days was experience. The experience of fighting on the border of life and death, remaining calm, and making decisions. Now he is able to calmly find a chance in a battle to the death, an attack. Every fighter training in the Ruwei class possesses this ability. It's already 5 p.m., time to go back. Luo Feng took a look at his tactical communications watch and directly jumped off the roof with his backpack on his back. A few moments later, Luo Feng was in a pretty good mood as he walked along the highway. Suddenly, he felt a tremor and couldn't help but to turn his head. What he saw were 3 shadows panicking as they sprinted far away on the highway. Sometimes they would sprint, and sometimes they would leap over 10 meters far. These shadows were extremely quick. The one running in front is Yuan. With a glance, Luo Feng recognized one of the 3 that were running. He was precisely the Yuan that was the only one in the fighter combat exam able to compete with him, and behind them were a dark mass of monsters. Each of the monsters were only around 30 centimeters large, just barely larger than a human's palm. However, these little monsters formed a sea of monsters, causing Yuan and the other 2 to drop their blades, shields, etc. and sprint for their lives. A rat tide? Luo Feng was shocked. Even a war god level fighter has no chance of surviving after being surrounded in the infinite rat tide, also known as the rat disaster. The black rat tide seemed infinite and was wide enough to cover the whole highway. It seemed to stretch on for over 100 meters, with each rat monster being 30 centimeters in length. There were definitely over 10,000 monsters in this rat tide, and this rat tide counts as a small one. Even a war god will die if he gets caught in it. So Luo Feng only had one choice. Run! Luo Feng immediately started sprinting on the highway. Hoo! Yuan and the other 2 had threw away their blades, shields, and other weapons a long time ago. Each of them were sprinting as the rat tide behind them chased incessantly. The distance between them shortened from 20 meters to 15 meters, 14 meters, 13 meters. Fuck! What's taking the army so long? If they don't come soon, we're dead. Yuan and the others cursed in their hearts and clenched their teeth as they accelerated, increasing the distance between them and the rat tide. They directly pulled away to 30 meters. Only after that did Yuan and the other 2 start decelerating. I can't run anymore. Me neither. Yuan and the other 2 exchanged glances, and all of them were in bitter pain. Their maximum sprint speed is way faster than this rat tide, but since it's their maximum, they won't be able to maintain it for long. For example, it was pretty good for the humans before the Grand Nirvana period to run 100 meters in 10 seconds. 100 meters in around 10 seconds. But what about 1,000 meters? Can they do that in 100 seconds? 10,000 meters? Could they do it in 1,000 seconds? In fact, before the Grand Nirvana period, the record for the male's 10,000-meter run was around 1,580 seconds. Fighters now are the same. Yuan Dong and the others can run 60 meters per second in their maximum sprint speed, but they've been running for nearly half an hour now. Right now, they can barely keep up a speed of 40 meters per second. Only when the rat tide nears them do they force themselves with their lives on the line to run faster. Yuan Dong and the others have ran about 300 miles. One could imagine how tired they are. Hurry up and come, army. This is pretty close to the resupplying base. How come the army still isn't here? Yuan Dong and the other two were starting to lose feeling in their legs. Their muscles were too tired to run any faster. And Luo Feng maintained an astonishing speed of 60 meters per second while carrying his blade and shield. Yuan Dong and the other two have used up most of their energy, but Luo Feng is still in peak condition. Luo Feng was already pretty far from the rat tide, so he quickly lost them. With a glance, Luo Feng saw a deep blue shadow coming from far away in the sky. At first, he thought it was some sort of flying monster, but as the deep blue flying object neared, Luo Feng realized what it was. It was some sort of flat, round, saucer-shaped military aircraft. Most of the military's aircraft are made in this shape, since it's easier to attack and defend against flying monsters in the air. Army N/O/V/B//N.C//OM. It's the Army's aircraft. The exhausted trio suddenly gave an excited yell, and each of them started accelerating. Luo Feng, who was still sprinting, also slowed down. He raised his head and watched the military aircraft rush towards the monster horde. When it was around 100 meters above the ground, it started hovering perfectly above the monster horde. With Luo Feng's eyesight, he saw a gigantic cannon come out of the bottom of the aircraft. Rumble! A never-ending flame started ferociously shooting out the cannon, directly covering the rat tide below. The temperature of the flame was probably a couple thousand degrees, and most of the rat monsters were burned alive. Suddenly, the usually neat rat tide crumbled entirely. They ran in all directions while giving off horrified yells. However, under the cage of flame, most of the rat monsters were directly burned to death. A portion of the rat monsters ran into the abandoned fields beside the highway, directly burrowed into the ground, and disappeared. U4 fighters, a grade 3 rat tide has emerged in a 1,000-mile radius. Please return to the resupplying base. It's not too late to come back to the wilderness after the rat tide alert has been called off, a sound carried from the aircraft. Suddenly, it split the air as it flew away, headed off to save the other fighters. Yuan Dong and the other two let out a deep, long breath. We kept our lives. We were so close to being finished. These three were extremely tired. Luo Feng, Yuan Dong couldn't help but to yell into the distance. Anything to eat? Give us something to eat. To drink? Luo Feng laughed as he came over. The Yuan Dong in front of him wasn't cold and sullen like before. He was exhausted and filled with joy. After sprinting for his life for around 300 miles, his body used up an astonishing amount of energy. Luo Feng took out a bag from the side pocket of his backpack and took out 3 balls. These 3 are high-energy candies, and here's a sack of water. Luo Feng handed them over, and each of them swallowed the high-energy candy. The water in the sack was split up and quickly finished. Luo Feng, thanks, said Yuan Dong thankfully. Let me introduce to you. The one beside me is called Wang Ke. The other is called Jiang too. I've long heard about Crazy's famous name, said the handsome Wang Ke as laughed. Crazy, your one high-energy candy tastes better than the most expensive delicacy. I was starving, but now I feel much more comfortable, said Jiang too, who had a huge beard. Luo Feng walked and chatted with Yuan Dong and the other two. How'd you guys encounter the rat tide? That military aircraft said, a grade 3 rat tide. The city Luo Feng was in was too close to the resupplying base, so he didn't have a chance to personally experience the rat tide. I've finally seen how powerful the rat tide is, Yuan Dong couldn't help but to say. Before, we were resting on the rooftop of a residential apartment in a country city, but suddenly, large amounts of rat monsters appeared all over the entire city. It was truly infinite. We were so scared that we immediately used steel wires to escape from rooftop to rooftop. We didn't dare to go down. Luo Feng was astonished. He was completely able to imagine a scene with an uncountable amount of rat monsters appearing in a country city. Thankfully, our squad was in the suburbs of the country city. We clenched our teeth, picked an alley with the fewest rat monsters, and ran for our lives. However, on the way, we encountered another rat tide. We didn't have a choice. Our squad could only split up and run, making the rat tide split too. We were lucky. We ran to the highway, and only a small rat tide was chasing us. While running, Wang Ku and I met this Jiang guy. He pretty much went through the same experience we did. Wan Dong laughed bitterly as he said, "I wonder how Captain and the others are doing." In a place with many streets and alleys, they could split up and run, causing the rat tide to split up too. However, they didn't dare do such a thing on the highway, since only the abandoned fields were beside it. It's harder for humans to sprint in these fields, and the geographical environment of the fields doesn't really have much of an impact on the rat monsters. That's why everyone runs on the highway and aren't willing to enter the abandoned fields. Luo Feng and the others arrived in the fighter resupplying base. At this time, a large amount of fighters were gathered at the gate of the base. "Crazy, I knew that you wouldn't die." "Crazy, did you see old Lu and the others in the number 0231 country level city?" As he walked into the resupplying base, quite a few fighters who recognized Luo Feng came to give their greetings and ask questions, since a rat tide explosion is an extremely dangerous case. Thankfully, this was just a grade 3 rat tide, so it wasn't too dangerous. If it was the legendary grade 1 rat tide, then even the entire Jiangnan headquarters city would be in danger. "Old Wang, have my captain and the others returned yet?" Wan Dong started asking around. "Haven't seen them. Your captain and the others aren't back. It's not recorded here." Today was a sad day for the resupplying base. Quite a few fighters lost their lives. As for the 3 war gods that entered the wilderness today, one of them was actually surrounded by the infinite rat tide and was lost in it. The rat tide crazily attacked with all they had and killed a war god. Yes, today, a human war god has fallen. There aren't just soldier-level rat monsters in the rat tide, there are also commander-level existences. And the leader of the rat tide is extremely intelligent. Once they select a target, they'll disregard everything else. It was said that while that human war god was struggling, around 10 skyscrapers were destroyed, causing millions of rat monsters to die. Sadly, millions of rat monsters means nothing to the rat tide, which contains billions. Because of that, this war god died. Rumble, the dark clouds rolled, and the harsh winds covered the entire land. Sometimes, the sound of thunder could be heard, and with one of the thunder's explosion, heavy rain started pouring. On the rooftop of a villa in the resupplying base, Luo Feng sat on the balcony. "Captain, I'm fine. I was pretty lucky. Didn't get surrounded by the rat tide." "Brother Chinya, I'm fine." "Brother Tai, hi, you can hear my voice." "Of course I'm fine." Luo Feng received several phone calls, since a grade 3 rat tide event only appears around once a generation. Because of that, most of the fighters in Jiangnan City knew what happened. Every time a rat tide case occurs, or the even more horrifying ant tide, many human fighters die. In this case, a human war god has fallen. A big loss to the entire Jiangnan City. Just a grade 3 rat tide caused so many people to die. Then what about the legendary grade 1 rat tide? Or the legendary war between humans and monsters? The war between humans and monsters is the war between 2 civilizations, the war between 2 races. Once the war begins, countless kinds of monsters appear. Ground monsters, all sorts of flying-type monsters, monsters that use quantity of quality, monsters with immeasurable power, burrowing monsters, poisonous monsters, monsters with flying attacks, and sound wave attacks. The ground and the sky are covered with countless monsters. There are also burrowing monsters in the ground and monsters in the lakes. Things like the rat tide and the ant nest are just a portion of them. This is the most horrifying war. Monsters are the enemies of us humans. Right now, the monsters have complete control over the sea. On the ground, humans have the advantage. However, monsters have the advantage in the sky. Humans are forced into headquarters cities and to counterattack from there. Luo Feng never realized this in the past. He always felt like monsters were just being slaughtered by fighters, but today he finally realized monsters are entirely capable of wiping humanity off the face of the earth. If humanity goes extinct, what's the point of talking about family? What's the point of talking about cultures, ethics, and morals? My strength isn't enough. Not even close to enough. Luo Feng gazed at the infinite sky and earth. Boom! Ka! The thunder roared, and a flash of lightning came crashing down from the sky. Thunderbolt! Luo Feng stared at the lightning in the faraway sky, and suddenly, boom! Crackles! Lightning bolt after lightning bolt came crashing down from the sky. Sometimes two flashes of light will wrap around each other like snakes in the sky to form a lightning bolt. Even a horde leader wouldn't want to get hit by the almighty lightning bolt. The astonishing voltage would probably instantly turn them into dust. Fierce, sharp, destroying everything. Luo Feng sat on the balcony of the rooftop as he muttered while watching silently. With Luo Feng's technique training these past days, his technique finally barely steps into the Ruwei class. As for his blade technique, Luo Feng is only able to control his sword's power. After killing over 10,000 monsters, and adding the amount of control that the 9-stage Thunderblade already needs, Luo Feng's current control over his blade is already way above Wei Tai and Wei Qing's. However, Luo Feng wasn't able to complete the second stage of the 9-stage Thunderblade. He has always wanted to complete the second stage. Know that this instruction manual is extremely powerful. The first stage gives you 140% of your original power, but the second stage gives you 210%. It gives you a full 50% increase from the power in the first stage. In other words, an advanced level warrior can wield the strength of a beginner level warlord. And the 9th stage of the 9-stage Thunderblade is 700%, which is 7x the original. An advanced warrior can wield the power of a beginner level warlord. This is the power of the 9-stage Thunderblade. However, the only person who has mastered all 9 stages in the entire world is the creator, Thunder God. Yeah, like this, Luo Feng, who was always practicing his blade technique, watched the lightning before him. As he watched, he grasped something in his heart. After a short moment, he immediately went down to the second floor to get his ghost blade. After that, with his ghost blade in hand, he started practicing in the heavy rain on the rooftop. The lightning in the distance started dying down. According to the explanation from the instruction manual, every blade master has their own conception. According to the scroll, you have to raise the limits of your blade technique to advance in the 9-stage Thunderblade. This lightning bolt, Luo Feng started swinging his blade over and over in the heavy rain. Xiao. Unlike before, Luo Feng was trying to grasp the feeling in his heart while training. The feeling he felt when he watched the lightning bolts. The quick, explosive, and extremely concise feeling. Luo Feng's blade drew a light as it slashed around. Burst, burst, burst out. Luo Feng tried to follow the feeling in his heart to unleash another force from his body. N/O/vel/B//and.C//om. It should be like this, but how come I can only unleash the first stage and not the second? The rain was pouring, but Luo Feng was completely immersed in the world of his own blade. He had no time to worry about rain. And tonight, Luo Feng surprisingly didn't undergo any genetic energy training. He just kept unleashing the 9-stage Thunderblade. However, doing this over and over again caused Luo Feng's body to become very tired. But Luo Feng didn't want to stop. So every time he swung his blade, he simply paused a bit before swinging again. Dawn of day 2. The rain has stopped a long time ago, and a faint glow started to appear from the sky in the east. The winter's chill was already quite apparent at dawn, but Luo Feng, who was completely wet, hugged his blade as he sat on the balcony and frowned. Just what am I missing? Luo Feng himself thought that he should be able to unleash the second stage. Even the inner parts of his body were already starting to unleash a second force, but every time it seemed like it was about to come out, it fell short in the very end, just missing by a bit. Drip! A droplet of rain fell right into a puddle on the balcony of the rooftop. The calm surface of the water rippled, and gently spread to all directions. Luo Feng felt something in his heart. An idea appeared in his mind. The scene he witnessed with the destructive lightning bolts. That was extremely sharp. However, the ripples caused by a droplet of rain were extremely gentle. Just not for long. Your body fitness level can only go so high. The 9th stage is there to give you an explosive strength 7 times greater than your own. However, if you keep pushing towards that limit, how could your body withstand that? Luo Feng eagerly stood up and, with his ghost blade in hand, directly slashed across the area in front of him. The blade moves relatively quickly in its first movement. However, instantly add another force. And another. Add 2 of them consecutively. The blade slashed across the air. Rumble. A sound rang. Luo Feng's right arm, for an instant, basically bulged up for a bit, clearly becoming larger than his left. Just like that, Luo Feng retracted his blade and had a joyful smile on his face. Just like the smooth, gentle surface of water, the deepest parts of his body's muscles naturally connected the 2 forces. And these 2 forces instantly increased the ghost blade's speed to an amazing heights, like lightning. Second stage of the 9-stage Thunderblade, finally completed. Just with his blade technique, Luo Feng is able to reach the strength of a low-level warlord. Adding his Ruwei-class technique to that, even a regular low-level warlord wouldn't be a match for him. In extreme joy, Luo Feng ran down the stairs and immediately ordered breakfast through the phone. He happily and cheerfully finished his breakfast and prepared to undergo genetic energy training. Not right. My blade did get stronger, but it only has brute force. Luo Feng shook his head and immediately picked up his ghost blade again. I am perfectly capable of controlling exactly when I exert the 2 forces. That way, I can make my blade less predictable. Luo Feng started swinging his blade in the training hall. Since he exerts his force 2 more times, Luo Feng's blade changes 2 more times. This is the difference between someone training in the 9-stage Thunderblade and an average person. HU, the blade was weird and erratic. Swing, and again. The images of the lightning bolts crashing down from the sky kept appearing in Luo Feng's mind. And the images of the water droplet causing the ripples. This was the feeling he was searching for every time he swung his blade. He needs to find a blade technique for himself. The 9-stage Thunderblade simply gives him a technique to increase his force. Luo Feng needs to experience and find a blade technique that most suits him. And he needs to conceive a technique that can let his body withstand the force of the 9-stage Thunderblade with no drawbacks. Immersed in the creation of his technique, the fatigue of his muscles didn't affect Luo Feng's excitement at all. Every time he swung his blade, the technique became more and more erratic. The blade even occasionally made light shockwaves from the 2 faint vibrations it received when drawing through the air. Luo Feng had no idea of how much time has passed. Xiao! The blade drew a light like lightning and like fog. It had some sort of feeling similar to a misty trance. But in just that instant, the blade, like a lightning bolt, disappeared. It's that! Luo Feng finally had a smile on his face. When he casually swung his blade, the muscles of his body were relaxed. He would then instantly exert a force and then go back to the relaxed state. Changing states like this over and over again will allow Luo Feng to be able to fight for a longer duration in battle. According to the instruction manual, I finally got past the basic part and started on the part of conception. I just barely touched the border though. Luo Feng was extremely happy. What should I call my technique? Since I got my inspiration for this technique from watching lightning, I'll call it Thunderbolt. Luo Feng finally had his own technique. Even though my blade technique, Thunderbolt, was just created, I'll keep improving it in the future, said Luo Feng silently. He lowered his head and looked at his tactical communications watch. It was already 2 p.m. From last night until now, he spent almost 20 hours practicing his blade technique. In just a few days, the Fire Hammer Squad will assemble. My technique and my blade technique have improved, so I'll go back and rest for a few days. Luo Feng was in a joyful mood. After eating lunch, he gathered his things and got on a train headed to Jiangnan City from the resupplying base. Around 50 days of training and killing over 10,000 monsters enabled Luo Feng's technique and blade technique to reach new heights. And the blade technique he created, Thunderbolt, has finally taken shape today. Even though it was simple and plain, he created it when he was just 18 years old. Nobody could say what kind of level the blade tech. Yangzhou City's Mingyue sector, Luo Feng's home. In the lobby, Luo Feng was currently merrily eating dinner with his parents and brother. Luo Feng only stayed in the wilderness for 7 or 8 days the first time he went. However, this time he was gone for nearly 2 months. Even though they kept in touch via phone, the joy of actually meeting Luo Feng way surpasses talking through a phone. After dinner, Luo Hua's room. Luo Hua. "What are you writing?" laughed Luo Feng as he asked after seeing a Word document on his brother's laptop with a lot of words on it. "Reviewing the losses in last month's stock and patching up my theory on the stock market," laughed Luo Hua as he replied, "Brother, this main theory of mine actually took a few months to build up. However, to actually complete it will take much longer than that." Luo Feng laughed. "Luo Hua, don't tell me about this. I have no idea what you're saying anyway." "Oh yeah. How have the stocks been the past 3 months?" "They haven't been good. A huge drop of 10%. However, the stock I chose count as quality stocks, so with some manipulation, I was able to earn around 50% in the last 3 months," said Luo Hua with a face of confidence. After seeing that, Luo Feng also let out a smile. Actually, Luo Feng also researched a bit about stocks on the internet. As of now, the stock market is completely globalized. However, the situations in each region are different. The stock market could entirely collapse, and some regions could undergo inflation. Some places could be attacked by monsters and undergo astonishing deflation. Under these random situations, it's extremely hard to trade stocks. "Oh, in other words, you earned 10 million, said Luo Feng in a surprised tone. Since Luo Feng earned a lot from the hunter 3 months ago, he lent his brother 20 million. Even though he had faith in his brother, it would be too risky to lend him too much money. Pretty good?" Luo Feng took out his phone, quickly entered the internet bank, and made a transaction. Beep! Luo Hua took out his phone and was shocked. He received a message saying that his balance has changed. "Your card ending in 3206 has increased by 50 million on November 30th, 2151. "Brother, 50 million, said Luo Hua out of shock as he looked towards his brother Luo Feng. 50 million was no small number. As of now, Chinese dollars are quite valuable. The exchange rate between the Earth dollars is only around 3.5. Even for many rich Chinese businessmen and merchants, making them pull out 50 million isn't too realistic. "Luo Hua, keep working. I'm sure you can do it," laughed Luo Feng. Luo Hua's eyes flashed, and he nodded seriously. Controlling such a huge amount of money as he entered the stock market gave Luo Hua a sense of accomplishment. For a handicapped person like him, he has made the stock market his career a long time ago. He has played through all types of stocks since a few years ago and is finally confident in what he does. You can say he already has the foundation of a master. However, even a master can fail in the stock market. Because of this, there is a lot of psychological pressure. "Don't stay up too late," said Luo Feng as he laughed and went downstairs. 50 million, Luo Feng didn't really mind. His training in the past 2 months has earned him over 80 million. The amount of money he made was admirable to many fighters, but unfortunately, they can't learn Luo Feng's method. Luo Feng is a spirit reader, and if Luo Feng really wanted to make money, he could use his spiritual force to kill large amounts of commander-level monsters. Last night was stormy, but tonight the stars were bright. The starlight shone through the glass in the second floor's training hall. Luo Feng was swinging his ghost blade over and over again at an extremely high frequency. And every time he swung his blade, he pushed himself to his limit to unleash the 9-stage Thunderblade. And since he bitterly practiced for 20 hours straight in the resupplying base, swinging his blade at an extremely high frequency would tire him out in just 30 minutes. After that, Luo Feng would undergo his Daoyin technique training, 9-stage Yuan. Finally, he would undergo the genetic energy training, Wu Xin Xiang Tian. Shishi, Luo Feng, who was undergoing Wu Xin Xiang Tian, sat cross-legged and couldn't help but to let out a face of joy. He clearly felt that all the cells in his body were crazily gobbling up the cosmic energy. After finishing the first stage of the 9-stage Thunderblade, my training rate almost doubled. And now, after completing the second stage of the 9-stage Thunderblade, every cell in my body became even more hungry and can absorb even more genetic energy. Time passed minute by minute. After a while, as if all the cells in his body joyfully burped, none of them could absorb any more and were completely satisfied. After finishing the first stage, my training rate doubled. After finishing the second stage, even though my training rate didn't raise as much as the first time, it still increased by around 30%. Luo Feng was amazed. The 9-stage Thunderblade was indeed amazing and unrivaled. With that Daoing technique, his training rate increased even more. I trained bitterly at home for a month and then trained in the wilderness for 2 more months. I wonder how much my strength has increased from these past 3 months, thought Luo Feng expectantly. Indeed, Luo Feng was improving rapidly every single day for the past 3 months. Since he's a spirit reader, his spiritual force has been subtly making his body stronger. This is one reason why spirit readers grow so quickly. Also, Luo Feng is training in the 9-stage Thunderblade and has been fighting on the border of life and death for the past 2 months. All 3 of these factors combined have made Luo Feng's rate of growth around 5 to 6 times faster than an above-average fighter. I'll go test for a bit in the limit hall tomorrow to see how strong I am. Luo Feng wanted to see the results of his bitter training. n/o/vel/b/jan.c//om. Dawn, around 5 a.m. Luo Feng was headed towards the limit hall. Crazy up so early. There were a few fighters doing their morning practice in the sector. Crazy, I heard you made a ton these past 2 months. You better treat us to something. Treat us brothers in this sector to a cheerful, good meal. Quite a few fighters laughed as they gave their greetings. Nobody knew much about Luo Feng's huge earning from the hunter Silver Moon Wolf, but quite a few people in the circle of fighters recognized Luo Feng from the crazy slaughtering he did. Killing 10,000 soldier-level monsters in 2 months is indeed a crazy battle record. So getting the nickname Crazy isn't so weird. Also, because of this, Luo Feng has gained much more respect from everyone. No matter how stupid someone is, killing 10,000 monsters will make you extremely experienced. Practice makes perfect. All right, no problem. Want to go tonight? Laughed Luo Feng. After entering the limit hall, a reception lady in the lobby saw Luo Feng and yelled, "Mr. Luo, so early. There aren't even any people here yet. Would you like something to drink? I'll arrange for it. Not right now, but prepare some tea and dessert. I'll eat it when I come down," laughed Luo Feng. And then he directly went upstairs. Limit Hall's 6th floor. Luo Feng was extremely thankful as he looked at the gigantic training hall on the 6th floor. This was where he went through the prospective fighter exam. Who knew that in a blink of an eye, that prospective fighter from before is now a true elite fighter? Luo Feng turned on the fist strength machine and the speed testing machine. After turning on the speed tester, Luo Feng stood on the track. "Let's see my power." Luo Feng, who was relaxed, instantly shot out with a HU sound like an arrow leaving its bow. In a blink of an eye, he rushed through the track and started slowing down. Luo Feng looked at the speed tester, and the display showed 78.6 m/s. Not bad. Luo Feng's eyes flashed. Normally, 60 meters per second is what you would need for your body fitness level to reach an advanced level warrior. And 90 meters per second is what you need to reach a beginner level warlord. Let me test my strength. Luo Feng walked in front of the fist strength testing machine, took in a deep breath, and let his force explode. Boom! The fist smacked into the tester like a cannonball and ferociously shook the whole thing. The display showed 6,121 kg. Usually, 4,000 kilograms counts as an advanced level warrior, and 8,000 kilograms counts as a beginner level warlord. Of course, this is just a number that estimates your strength. Your true skill is determined not only by your body fitness level, but also by your record of slayed monsters. Body fitness is just a portion of your strength. Now let's test the 9-stage Thunderblade S force exertion. Luo Feng took in a deep breath and then suddenly opened his eyes. He exerted force through his feet, which caused the entire floor of the training hall to shake a bit. The powerful force instantly carried from his feet to his waist. Kakaka. Each section of Luo Feng's spine held up, and the powerful force carried to his right arm. At the same time, his waist and back let out two connected force exertions like the rippling on the surface of a puddle. Connect. Second stage of the 9-stage Thunderblade. 210% power. Explode. As Luo Feng's fist moved, it continuously accelerated. It brought along an explosive shock wave as it directly smacked into the machine. Boom! The target fell down and then slowly straightened itself again. The display also paused for a bit before showing the number, 12,928 kg. All right. Luo Feng let out a smile on his face. 6,121 times 2.1 is 12,854. However, fist strength is just an estimate, so it could be a bit higher or lower. In other words, Luo Feng's full power nears 13,000 kilograms of force. His actual body fitness level is an advanced level warrior's. However, with a 9-stage Thunderblade, he reaches the beginner level warlord, and he is way past the required 8,000 kilograms. A beginner level warlord's fist strength is usually between 8,000 kilograms and 16,000 kilograms. Finally, let's test my reaction speed. Luo Feng entered the reaction speed testing room and switched it to the beginner level warlord mode and set it to begin in 5 seconds. After pressing the red button, Luo Feng swiftly ran into the circle. Inside the circle, after around 5 seconds, beep, beep, the cannon of the reaction speed tester machine started rotating faster and faster until it reached an astonishing speed. After that, little rubber bullets shot out of the dozens of muzzles in the main cannon, which flew towards the red circle. So fast, Luo Feng stood in the middle of the red circle and started moving swiftly. His steps were light, yet quick, and very relaxed. If you could find someone who has the same reaction speed as Luo Feng, they probably wouldn't be as relaxed as him, because Luo Feng's technique has reached the Ruwei class. With the Ruwei class technique, Luo Feng is able to maximize his dodging ability. Pew! Pew! 2 bullets hit Luo Feng, but Luo Feng didn't hesitate and kept dodging. 1 minute later, the cannon stopped rotating. Luo Feng then walked to the display and looked carefully. 60 seconds, 21 hits, 0 contacts with the red light. Excellent. Luo Feng was amazed at this grade. He was actually able to receive a grade of excellent on a beginner-level warlord's reaction speed test. You can clearly see the results of the Ruwei class. Actually, this reaction speed testing machine technically tests your dodging ability. And your dodging ability is dependent on your speed, reaction speed, awareness, etc. However, this is the best way of testing it. 78.6 meters per second. Fist strength of 6,121 kilograms. I can make it near 13,000 kilograms at best. Reaction speed test. Beginner level warlord. Excellent. Luo Feng was extremely satisfied with the results. He was clear that his body fitness level should make him an advanced level warrior, but with help from the 9-stage Thunderblade and Ruwei class, he's able to make his attack power and reaction speed reach a beginner level warlord. After testing, Luo Feng went downstairs cheerfully. In the lobby on the first floor, quite a few fighters were sitting and chatting. Crazy. Luo Feng, Chief Instructor Wu Tong, was also there and laughed as he said, "Did you come this early to watch the prospective fighter exam? You didn't watch the past few times. Well, this time is good too. Come and see how these rookies test. Maybe you can test them when the time comes." Luo Feng froze. Prospective fighter exam? Yes, today is December 1st. Every first day of the month is the day of the prospective fighter exam. Luo Feng couldn't help but to laugh. This world is indeed quite interesting. 5 months ago, he was a member of the dojo that came here to test. At that time, his family still lived in a cheap home. In a blink of an eye, he's now living in the Mingyue sector and is easily making millions. You should still do the testing, Uncle Wu. At that time, I'll drop by and take a look, laughed Luo Feng as he sat on the side. A waiter immediately brought tea and desserts. Crazy, a dojo uniform-wearing man, who was also an instructor at the dojo of limits, laughed as he said, I heard that you killed over 10,000 monsters in the past 2 months, and that they were mostly high-level soldier-level monsters? Then have you reached the beginner-level warlord level? Seems so, nodded the person beside in agreement. Wu Tong also nodded. There's no way that an advanced-level warrior could kill all these monsters so easily. Even if Luo Feng hasn't reached the beginner-level warlord level, he's basically at that level. I remember that Luo Feng is training in the 9-stage Thunderblade, so it seems that the 9-stage Thunderblade has shown its effect. Luo Feng froze. Isn't that why? He killed over 10,000 monsters in a bit less than 2 months, and most of them were definitely high-level soldiers. Indeed, it would be really difficult for an advanced-level warrior to have such efficiency. No wonder they all think that he has reached the beginner-level warlord level. The 9-stage Thunderblade is extremely hard to train in, and the price for that instruction manual is extremely expensive, said the other fighters. Yeah, it is very hard, laughed Luo Feng as he nodded. I just coincidentally had some small breakthroughs. Everyone there, including Wu Tong, noticed that Luo Feng had a different look in his eyes. The 9-stage Thunderblade is an ultimate instruction manual. Quite a bit of people have bought this instruction manual, but quite a bit of fighters have also failed to just enter the first stage. Training in this instruction manual means that you'll be able to dominate your battles. Luo Feng, a sound carried from outside. Luo Feng turned his head and saw Brother Chen. Luo Feng, I heard you came back, but I didn't think you would be here so early, laughed Chen Gu as he walked over. Oh yeah, are you planning to go to Senior Lu Gang's memorial meeting tomorrow? It's such a big case, so we're all going. Luo Feng, you come too when the time comes, said Chief Instructor Wu Tong. Luo Feng sighed with emotion, and then nodded. Of course he has to go to such an event. Their senior, Lu Gang, who passed away in the Grade 3 Rat Tide, was a powerful war god. Even though Luo Feng didn't personally experience a rat tide, he was in the wilderness when the rat tide exploded. He couldn't help but to feel sorry for the dead. Seeing how his senior has passed away, naturally Luo Feng will go and pay his respects. On the day of the prospective fighter exam, Luo Feng and the others watched the Tender Juniors test. There were a total of 8 people, and 3 of them passed. There was actually someone Luo Feng was familiar with out of these 8 people, an elite member of the Jian region's dojo of limits. However, this elite member didn't pass. N/O/vel/B//and.C///OM. Day 2 dawn. The temperature was low. In the funeral parlor of Jiangnan City's Heroes Hall, security was extremely tight since many people were coming to pay their respects to their senior, Lu Gang. The 5 members of the Fire Hammer Squad were all gathered together, and all 5 of them wore black. There are quite a few people here today, said Chun Gu as he took in a breath. Luo Feng looked around, and just the surrounding streets were all filled with people who have come to pay their respects. Most importantly today is the first day of mourning, so only fighters, family members, high-ranking government officials, etc. are allowed to come. And from tomorrow until the 7th day, the regular citizens are allowed to come in to pay their respects. Even so, there were over 10,000 people gathered here, and all of these people were upper-class people in Jiangnan City. Some of them were at the top of large businesses, the government, and the army. There were also a huge mass of fighters. In the group of fighters, there were even powerful war god level fighters. If a war god dies, it is normal for the other war gods to come pay their respects. The national television came too, said Luo Feng as he watched their vehicle. A war god's memorial meeting is broadcasted across the entire country, said Gao Feng thankfully. Barely any war gods die across the entirety of China each year. Only fighters that are ranked war god or higher can get broadcasted across the entire country. Warrior and warlord level fighters will never be able to enjoy such great treatment. Also, only the top generals of the army receive this kind of treatment too. Look, it's the mayor of Jiangnan City. He's over there, the leader that frequently appears on television. HMHM, look over there. It's the head of the Su family, one of the 12 families of the HR Alliance. After Luo Feng heard about the Su family, he couldn't help but to look over. An old man who was a bit fat and had white hair all over his head seemed to be around 80 or 90 years old. However, he naturally had an aura of high authority around him. Behind him were 4 of his subordinates. Over there is the powerful war god level fighter Zhu Gushan. He's our chief instructor, Zhu Gutao's brother. Quite a few fighters were discussing. The people who came here today were indeed important people. Whether in the world of the government, the army, businesses, or fighters, all of them were at the top. "The memorial is starting," said Gao Feng as he looked ahead. "However, we have to wait for a bit before we can enter." "Let's wait. We rarely get to see all of these people," laughed Chengu. Luo Feng and the others stood by the street and waited in the back with a large amount of fighters. The VIPs ahead already started to enter. Beep! A gloomy, dark saucer-shaped fighter aircraft directly flew over from far away, and the army surrounding the hero's hall didn't attempt to block it. And the powerful war god fighters, the mayor of Jiangnan City, and all of the top officials in the army and government that entered the memorial all came out to greet. "A big one has arrived," Chun Gu's eyes flashed. "Damn, what kind of person came?" Even Gao Feng was shocked. The people who were at the scene were already at the top of China's upper-class society. For example, the war god fighters were at the top of the fighters. The mayor of Jiangnan City is, without a doubt, a top official. There are only 6 headquarters cities in China, so he is much more important than a governor before the Grand Nirvana period. However, all of these people have come out to greet. "Who is it?" Luo Feng looked carefully. All the fighters and even the reporters from the national television stared closely. Nobody dared to make a sound. Complete silence. The saucer-shaped fighter aircraft slowly descended, and its mechanical door opened. A thin man who had an aquiline nose and whose clothes were black came down the steps of the fighter aircraft. It didn't seem like he was in a good mood, and tears could be seen in his eyes. Just his presence caused the people in a 10-meter radius to feel like they were falling into darkness. He is the deity in that radius. Mr. Zhu, a powerful war god fighter, spoke. The aquiline-nosed man sighed and didn't say anything. The war god fighters, the mayor of Jiangnan City, and all the top officials from Kyoto City and the army nodded and headed straight towards the hero's hall. The other people followed behind him. Complete silence. Only until after these important people entered did discussions start to rise from outside. "Who is that guy?" Luo Feng was full of curiosity. This is, without a doubt, the type of man who is at the top of China. War god fighters rarely greet even a country's leader. Usually, war god fighters don't respect high-ranking officials. "No idea," Chengu and the others shook their heads. Gao Feng's ears moved a bit, and then he said quietly, "Someone ahead said that the guy just now is named Zhu Shi. I heard of the name Zhu Shi. Back then, he was an extremely famous war god level fighter. However, I haven't heard of him since. He rarely showed himself. I read on the internet that this Zhu, she has already surpassed the war god level and is one of the peak existences. An existence that surpasses the war god level." Luo Feng and the others took in a deep breath. Holy, an existence like that can go head-to-head with an entire country. A whole country has to bow down to this kind of person. This is indeed one of the top existences of human society. No wonder all the top officials of the businesses, government, army, and even war god fighters came to receive and greet him. You can say, such a person is like a god to humanity. Grief echoed throughout the entire hero's hall. From the government officials to the generals of the army to the war god level fighters. All of them paid their respects. Even the national television was carefully recording this scene as the reporter described what was happening in front of the camera. Soon, it was Luo Feng and the group's turn. As the crowd flowed, the 5 members of the Fire Hammer Squad quickly entered the hero's hall. There was just a gigantic photo at the memorial meeting. Just a photo, not even a body, thought Luo Feng to himself with amazement. Indeed, once you die after facing the infinite rat tide, not even your bones will remain. Luo Feng and the others respectfully bowed 3 times while being surrounded by the sounds of grief. Silently kneeling beside them were the powerful war god fighter's wife and daughter. Luo Feng and the others quickly left the area. The mood of the area outside the hall seemed to have relaxed a bit, It wasn't so oppressive like the mood in the hall. Senior Lu Gang was unfortunate, sighed Gao Feng as he shook his head. He just happened to fall into the middle of a rat tide. And the leader of the infinite rat tide surely determined that Senior Lu Gang was a top fighter of humanity, so was willing to give up everything to kill him. And once the rat tide is willing to do so, there's no escaping it. Luo Feng said in a small voice. From what I heard from the scenes captured by the satellites, a couple dozen skyscrapers fell and millions of rat monsters died in Senior Lu Gang's struggle. One can imagine the scene. Before, Luo Feng, Yuan and the others were only being chased by a small rat tide containing around tens of thousands of rat monsters. And there wasn't even a single commander-level rat monster in that small rat tide. Or else how come the rat tide couldn't catch up to Yuan and the other's speed? Even such a small rat tide was able to give Luo Feng such pressure. When he thinks about a scene of being surrounded by billions of rat monsters, he couldn't help but to shudder. The fact that the war god fighter was able to kill millions of rat tide monsters in such a short time showed that he was extremely powerful. If Senior Lu Gang was a bit more careful from the start and tried to avoid the center of the rat tide, he wouldn't have died, sighed Gao Feng. The cold outside the hero's hall was heavy, and the streets were filled with those from the circle of fighters, the government, the army, and people from family corporations. Luo Feng, a sound carried over. Luo Feng turned his head and saw Su Xian in a black outfit not too far away. This outfit gave Su Xian a small feeling of coldness. Su Xian, you don't have class today? Asked Luo Feng. Today is Saturday, so I came over with my family. Su Xian couldn't help but to laugh. Luo Feng paused and then laughed at himself. Saturday? Oh, I can't even remember the day of the week once I stopped going to school. After you become a fighter, the day of the week doesn't matter at all. When he was still going to school, he was crystal clear on the date. Now that classmate Luo Feng is a fighter, he's different from us other classmates, said Su Xian purposefully. Luo Feng and Su Xian chatted like this on the side of the street. And Su Gang, who was currently chatting with a middle-aged lady, caught a glimpse of Luo Feng and Su Xian together. He couldn't help but to frown and then apologize to the middle-aged lady beside him. Director Jiang, I have some things to attend to. We'll talk about this dividing case later. The middle-aged lady smiled as she nodded her head. Su Gang walked to a close spot and paid attention to Luo Feng and Su Xian out of the corner of his eye. With Su Gang's vision, he could clearly see Luo Feng and Su Xian's expressions. Clearly, they were having an enjoyable time, which made Su Gang's face even worse. Sister is a prideful person, so she usually doesn't like to talk to guys of the same age. How come with this Luo Feng? Sister Su Xian has already reached the required age for marriage, so Su Gang was extremely attentive to her love life. No matter what, he did not like Luo Feng, a fighter who'll die off who knows when, and he's still bothering my sister? The deeper they go, the more bitter hardship my sister will have to go through in the future. Su Gang was enraged. This Luo Feng, I already told him tactfully last time. If he knows, then he should stay away from my sister. He fails to appreciate my kindness. Su Gang was clearly mad, but what can he do even if he's mad? He won't foolishly charge in. Su Gang's gaze unexpectedly landed on someone not too far away, and with a heartbeat, I'll let Luo Feng have some pain and know his place. n/o/vel/b/jan.c//om. As he thought that in his heart, Su Gang headed towards the left. Master Su, a seemingly handsome youth whose head was shaved, laughed as he gave his greetings. Guahai, laughed Su Gang. I didn't think I would see Brother Guahai here. I thought you were still in the wilderness. Senior Lu Gang's memorial meeting is a huge thing. How could I not come? The handsome youth looked towards the hero's hall and shook his head as he sighed. Back then, I received some pointers from Senior Lu Gang. Who could have known that such an awesome, powerful fighter like Senior Lu Gang would? Su Gang felt like Guahai was actually sad, and he secretly shook his head. This Gao Hai isn't even that close to War God Lu Gang. Isn't he putting up too much of a show? As a merchant, he was unable to understand the feeling between the fighters. Fighters that walk on the border of life and death never forget their favors. Naturally, one would never forget a senior's advice for the rest of their lives. Guahai, my sister came here today too, laughed Su Gang. Su Xian? Guahai's heart skipped a beat. Where? Su Gang laughed bitterly, and then showed the direction with his eyes. Oh, over there, chatting with a young fighter. Guahai saw Luo Feng and Su Xian far away and slightly frowned. He said in a surprised tone, as far as I know, Lady Su Xian rarely talks to fighters, so I'm guessing that this young fighter has a special connection with her. Even though he liked Su Xian, Guahai didn't believe that Su Xian had to like him back. He does have a special connection, Su Gang shook his head. They used to be classmates, so my sister is on quite good terms with this kid. Or else she wouldn't be talking so much with him. Guahai nodded. Indeed, Su Xian rarely talked to young men. Even though he had quite a bit of self-control, Guahai couldn't help but to feel a bit jealous. This kid, I warned him before to stay away from my sister. However, it looks like he has some plans of his own for my sister. Su Gang looked at Guahai. This kid doesn't even look at his own position. A warrior-level fighter who knows when he'll die. And he still dares to chase after my sister. A commoner chasing after royalty. Guahai frowned, but couldn't help but to feel a bit proud inside. Young people can't help but to compare themselves to others. As of now, he's already an intermediate-level warlord. And he's only 21 years old. Su Gang, you're right. A warrior-level fighter will have a hard time in the wilderness. Who knows what he'll die to, nodded Guahai. If that kid really cares about Su Xian, he shouldn't her. I think so too, followed Su Gang. Guahai looked at Luo Feng and asked, oh yeah, what's his name? He's named Luo Feng, and just became a fighter not too long ago, said Su Gang. Luo Feng? Guahai frowned. Crazy. Su Gang froze and looked at Guahai suspiciously. What crazy? Crazy is a nickname. Only someone who has skill would receive a nickname from others. Usually, people don't even get nicknames, even when they want them. Guahai looked towards Su Gang and frowned as he said, this Luo Feng has a bit of fame in the circle of fighters. You underestimate him. Even though he just became a fighter not too long ago, he killed over 10,000 soldier-level monsters in just 2 short months. And I heard that they were mostly advanced-level soldiers. I estimate that he has the skill of a beginner-level warlord. Killed over 10,000 monsters? 2 months? Su Gang blinked twice. And you said he's a beginner warlord level? A 18-year-old beginner warlord level fighter? Su Gang couldn't help but to exclaim. Guahai nodded. Su Gang widened his eyes as he turned around to look at Luo Feng, who was currently joyfully chatting with Su Xian, and couldn't help but to curse. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. This kid pretended to be weak and tricked me. Who knew he was such a person? A 18-year-old beginner warlord compared to a 21-year-old intermediate warlord. As for potential, Luo Feng's is slightly higher. Su Gang's attitude changed a bit. Who knew that this crazy also liked Su Xian? Guahai let out a smile. Interesting, interesting. Luo Feng is actually called Crazy. This nickname. Su Gang was amazed beyond belief. However, killing around 10,000 monsters in 2 months. This is indeed quite crazy. He was completely shocked, but Su Gang quickly regained his composure. As he examined Luo Feng from far away, the merchant quickly came to a conclusion. This Luo Feng is still young, but he's already a beginner-level warlord, and the conditions he had back home weren't good at all. So being able to come to this stage is indeed quite rare. I'll look at it this way. If he's able to become a war god-level existence someday, then I'm afraid that my dad and the others will have no choice but to let sister marry him. However, a fighter is ultimately a fighter. Even Lu Gang can die, so who knows when he'll die. Whatever, I won't think any further. I'll just see how Luo Feng will grow from here, thought Su Gang to himself. Indeed, a warlord-level fighter is really nothing to a big family like the Su family. The memorial meeting was still ongoing, but some fighters were already starting to leave. After the 5 members of the Firehammer squad left, they immediately started searching for a nice-looking hotel with a classical style. The owner of this restaurant knew that there were quite a bit of people attending the memorial meeting today, since the memorial meeting was broadcasted across the country. Once he saw the direction Luo Feng and the others came from, along with the fighter-only car beside them, The owner of the restaurant immediately understood who these 5 were and led them to the best room on the 3rd floor. "All right, go now." Chingu quickly ordered some dishes and waved his hand, signaling the waiter to leave. The most beautiful female waiter of the restaurant snuck a peek at them and then obediently left the room. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. I was in a pretty good mood today until I saw the bastards of the Tiger Fong squad. Just seeing them completely destroyed my great mood. Gao Feng couldn't help but to say out of anger while clenching his teeth. Before they left, Luo Feng and the others met the Tiger Fong squad, who also came to pay their respects. "Captain, there's no need to get so angry over those bastards. It's not worth it." Wei Tai shook his head. "After we enter the wilderness, we'll find a chance to get rid of them," laughed Wei Qing coldly. Luo Feng frowned and scanned the entire room with his spiritual force to make sure there weren't any hidden listening devices. After seeing Luo Feng like that, Gao Feng laughed as he said, "Luo Feng, no worries. This restaurant counts as a high-class one, so people who eat in rooms like these are usually quite important people. Classified information frequently goes around here. If the owner of this restaurant dares to eavesdrop, he's looking for death." Chungu also spoke. "Who cares if someone is eavesdropping? We just talk about killing people, but we didn't kill anyone yet. We can't even talk about it with our mouths." Luo Feng laughed in agreement. "Captain, are there any annoying figures behind the Tiger Fong squad asterisk?" asked Luo Feng. "If there are, then we have to be cautious." Note: no matter where I looked it said Firehammer Squad, but considering the context, I'm pretty sure it's the Tiger Fong Squad. It could just be a typo, but this is the first time I've ever seen a typo like this on all the sources I checked. "Who could there be?" Gao Feng sneered. "It's not like their parents are war gods." "Oh yeah. Senior war god Lu Gang has 3 children, 2 sons, and 1 daughter. And the oldest son and daughter are warlord-level experts. Only the second son's strength is average," sighed Wei Tai. "These experts are just not the same. Even the daughter is so powerful already." "Oh, 3 children and 2 of them are warlord levels?" Luo Feng was shocked. "That's quite normal," Gao Feng said. "Luo Feng, you haven't been in the circle of fighters for a long time, so you probably aren't too sure. Actually, a powerful fighter's children will also be quite powerful. For example, the world's strongest fighter, Hong, is an existence that surpasses a war god, and his sons and daughters are all war god level." Luo Feng blinked twice. He really didn't know about this. "It's quite simple actually," laughed Gao Feng as he continued. "When a fighter trains, every cell in his body absorbs genetic energy, perfecting the genes in his body. The genes of his body continuously get better, and in that process, the stronger the fighter, the higher quality his genes will become. And when he marries and has kids, those genes are passed on to the next generation. It's not weird for children of the exceptionally powerful fighters like Hong, Thunder God, and Zhu Shi to reach the War God level, because their genes are already great. However, this doesn't carry completely. If they aren't as powerful as their parents, it'll lead to each generation getting weaker and weaker. Eventually, the genes of that family will become average again." Luo Feng nodded. "Genes are indeed passed when having children. The children of powerful fighters have an advantage right at birth." The door opened, and the waiter came in with the food. "Okay." After the waiter put everything on the table and left, Gao Feng sighed as he said, "Actually, if humanity keeps on going like this, the genes of the powerful fighters will spread around, therefore increasing the quality of all the genes of humanity. However, when a weak person marries a powerful person, their children could be quite normal. So, it's very hard to raise the quality of the genes of humanity as a whole. Powerful people raise the quality of humanity's genes, while weak people lower them. However, one point is clear. As time passes, the genes of humanity as a whole will continuously rise in quality. One day, almost all of humanity can become fighters." Luo Feng slightly nodded at Gao Feng's conclusion. "Of course, for every single human to become a fighter, who knows how long that'll take? 500 years? 1,000 years? 50,000 years?" laughed Gao Feng as he shook his head. "Evolution for all of humanity is indeed a slow process." Luo Feng and the others quickly finished lunch and, After the dishes were taken away, ordered some tea. Old Chun and Wei Tai and his brother have pretty much gotten used to their strength. Let me see. We'll go into the wilderness these 2 days, said Gao Feng as he looked at the others. Anyone have any opinions? How about the day after tomorrow? Spoke Shingu. Luo Feng nodded. Let's depart on the day after tomorrow. However, Captain, where are we going to this time? Ha, Shingu laughed. This time we surely won't be going to those small country-level cities. Our squad is much more powerful than it was before. Saying that the squad as a whole has increased in strength by at least 10 times is no exaggeration. Let's go to a major city area. Wei Tai and Wei Qing's eyes flashed. In the past, they were only willing to fight a bit in prefecture-level cities. How about we get arrogant and try the number 003 city, said Gao Feng quietly as he took in a deep breath. Number 003 city. Luo Feng and the others were completely shocked. Number 003 city. What does that represent? You could say it's one of the most horrifying areas in all of Eurasia. This place is near the sea, so there are large amounts of ocean monsters. This city also has one of the highest building densities, so the amount of monsters here has reached an alarming amount. There are many Horde leader level monsters, and even monsters that surpass the Horde leader level live here. Large amounts of top fighters come here. Fighters from other headquarters cities in Asia also come to this area just for this city. Here is where human fighters and soldiers slaughter each other. NOV L B / JNN. Here is where the center of China's economy was before the Grand Nirvana period. Shanghai City. There, Wei Tai and Wei Qing were both shocked. That's too much. The difficulty gap is too great. Wei Tai couldn't help but to say, how about we go to number 023 city in Old Suzhou first? No matter how arrogant, anyone would tremble in fear after hearing the name of number 003 city. This place is where the real dragons, snakes, and alligators appear. Gao Feng looked at the others and laughed. Scared? Who's scared? Whoever goes to number 003 city will get major bragging rights. Chun Gu's eyes flashed. Go, of course we're going. Number 003 city is a gigantic city anyway, probably more than 10 times larger than the other cities. We're just creeping along the border. What is there to be afraid of? Luo Feng, what about you? The group looked towards Luo Feng, since he was the top fighting force of the squad. Luo Feng contemplated. Of course Luo Feng knew about the legendary number 003 city. What number 003 city means to humans today versus what Shanghai meant before the Grand Nirvana period, they are both special. Okay, we can go. But we have to go slowly from the suburbs, nodded Luo Feng. Of course we're going slowly from the suburbs, or am I tired of living? I don't want to die yet, laughed Gao Feng. Some of my old friends are all drifting around number 003 city. That is where all the top fighters appear. Of course we're going to have to start going there too. Being able to survive in number 003 city is a symbol of strength, because there are large amounts of alligators there. There are large amounts of commander-level monsters even in the suburbs, and along the riverbanks are quite a few Horde leader-level monsters. So those without strength wouldn't dare go to number 003 city. Alright, then everyone get some rest. We'll depart tomorrow towards number 003 city, laughed Gao Feng. Alright, to number 003 city. The blood of Luo Feng After the third day, Luo Feng and Chun Gu left the Mingyue sector and grouped up with Gao Feng, Wei Tai, and Wei Qing at the HR Alliance market to head towards the resupplying base in the southeast. The military sector in the southeast was way larger than Jiangnan City's northern military sector. This resupplying base is also way larger than the resupplying base in the northern military sector. After getting the key, Luo Feng and the group couldn't help but to take in a breath as they walked inside the resupplying base. The amount of villas in this resupplying base way surpassed the northern sector's amount. And with a glance, you could see large amounts of fighters in every area. In terms of strength, the fighters here have way surpassed the fighters of the northern sector. Of course they're way stronger, exclaimed Gao Feng. Number 003 city is near the sea. The uncountable amount of monsters in the sea have split the continent and threatened the mainland along the Huangpu River. This resupplying base exists to deal with those sea monsters. And the fighters are mainly here to deal with the monsters inside the number 003 city. Compared to the monsters of the land, the monsters of the sea pose a much larger threat to humanity, because the area of the sea way surpasses the area of the land, and the entire sea is the monster's territory. One could imagine just how many monsters are in the sea. Look, that's a poisoned devil gun, isn't it? HMHM, holy sheet, isn't that a war god? War god level fighters rarely appear in the northern military sector, but we just got here and we already saw 1 inch. Not surprising, number 003 city is one of the few large camps for the monsters in all of Eurasia. Professionals from other headquarter cities come here too, not just from our Jiangnan city. So it's not weird for so many strong people to be here. The Firehammer squad looked down from the rooftop of their apartment, and were all surprised. The fighters here truly came from all parts of the world. We'll eat, and after lunch we'll head to number 003 city, said Gao Feng. Moments later, the 5 fully equipped members of the Firehammer squad left the resupplying base. It's the Firehammer squad. They came here too? I heard that the rookie, Crazy, who just joined the Firehammer squad is quite strong. He's a beginner warlord, so he's sure to improve rapidly. The people inside the resupplying base laughed as they discussed. Crazy, Yuan Dong, who was chatting with his friends in the shade of a tree, couldn't help but to turn his head. At this time, the 5 members of the Firehammer squad were headed towards the gate of the base. Dong, this Luo Feng is in the same batch as you, right? Spoke the burly brute beside him. Yeah. Yuan Dong nodded. We became fighters in the same group. During the Grade 3 rat tide explosion from last time, I even met him. I wouldn't have thought that he would come to the military sector in the southeast. The captain of Yuan Dong's original squad died in the rat tide from last time, so Yuan Dong and the others joined another fighter squad and came here. Dong, keep at it. Don't lose to this Luo Feng. The burly brute smacked Yuan Dong's chest. Yuan Dong watched Luo Feng's shadow disappear at the gate while having complicated feelings. When they participated in the prospective fighter exam together, they were both scouted by dojos, who knew that in a blink of an eye, Luo Feng has already made his name in the circle of fighters while he's still a rookie that needs to work hard. If you mention Crazy of Jiangnan City, most people would know what you're talking about. Know that making a name for yourself is an extremely difficult thing to do. Or rely on an earth-shattering battle. Or rely on a special battle record, like Luo Feng killing 10,000 monsters in 2 months. Or rely on the build-up of your fame over tiring months and long years. For example, Chungu and Jiang could have spent a dozen years building up their fame before they were known. And now, Luo Feng counts as someone with quite a bit of fame. He was like me back then, and now he's already someone who has a bit of fame in the circle of fighters. I can't lose to him. Yuan Dong clenched his fists. With his target Luo Feng right in front of him, Yuan Dong didn't dare to relax. Along the highway, Luo Feng and the others walked for around 2 days until they finally reached the outskirts of number 003 city. The sky was gray, and the Firehammer squad treaded forwards carefully. Into the house, yelled Gao Feng. Whoosh! 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 Luo Feng and the others swiftly entered a shop on the street. Bleeding. Quack quack. Only after the few hundred birds that covered the sky flew past did the Firehammer squad carefully come out. This is where the monsters gather. It's their biggest camp in all of Eurasia. Not just land monsters, but all sorts of flying monsters are here too, warned Gao Feng in a small voice. And since it's near the sea, amphibious monsters appear too. So everyone make sure to be careful, and even more careful. Understood? Captain Luo Feng and the others nodded. Everyone knew how dangerous it was here. When the group of flying monsters from before attacked, they were only able to keep their lives because of the terrain and Luo Feng's explosion. Our target is a small sector 2 miles away called Wanka Dream City, said Gao Feng in a small voice. This Wanka Dream City takes up an immense amount of land, large enough for 1 million people to live there. Right now, there are quite a bit of monsters there. Since it's on the outskirts of number 003 city, Horde leader level monsters are rare. It's suitable for us to wander around there for a bit. Okay, the others nodded. Everybody be careful. Whether the sky, the ground, or even underground, monsters can appear from anywhere. Gao Feng waved his hand. Depart. Luo Feng's ghost blade was already unsheathed, and Chengu's RG-112 heavy machine gun was ready to fire at any time. The 5 members of the Fire Hammer Squad carefully moved forward and didn't dare to let down their guard for even a moment. They were completely different from the time they were in the small country-level city. Howl, growl, die. An earth-shaking growl rumbled over from a few dozen miles away, and even some humans enraged howls. Asterisk, 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 what monster? Chengu couldn't help but to turn his head towards the origin of the sound. That's towards the city sector, where real ichthyosauruses and alligators appear. There are quite a bit of Horde leader-level monsters and War God-level fighters there, said Gao Feng in a small voice. If you don't have the power of a War God, going there is suicide. In number 003 city, powerful fighters from not just China, but also Russia and India are there. Luo Feng and the others nodded. For a short 2 miles, not even a minute is needed if they explosively sprint. However, the Firehammer Squad spent half an hour to reach the Wanka Dream City sector that was abandoned dozens of years ago. In this half an hour, Luo Feng and the others killed 2 snake-type monsters, 30 regular soldier-level monsters, and a low-level commander. I heard it was dangerous, but I didn't think it would be this dangerous. We were so careful, and yet we were still forced to fight a low-level commander. Chengu's eyes flashed. Just what you'd expect from number 003 city. Go, hurry upstairs. Gao Feng waved his hand. Luo Feng and the others carefully and swiftly entered an apartment building. This building had 18 floors, and from the first floor to the 12th floor, Luo Feng and the others met around 10 monsters. On the 12th floor was a room around 100 square meters. While we're here at number 003 city, this house will be our temporary resting spot, spoke Gao Feng. Luo Feng also nodded. Unlike other cities, number 003 city has large amounts of flying-type monsters, so you can't rest on the rooftop. If you rest on the roof, you're looking for death. Look there! Gao Feng stood on the dusty balcony and pointed towards the south. Look there, at the place that's completely covered in mist. Luo Feng and the others walked there. n/o/vel/b/jin.c//om. Indeed, around 10 miles away, a few buildings could barely be seen in the mist. It was impossible to see any further than the broken sign there. That location was strangely covered entirely by the mist. Number 003 city is actually mostly covered in dust. All sorts of monsters' howls and birds' cries could be heard, and the rumbling of the tens of thousands of monsters was uncountable. That's the core of this sector. It used to be a Nor convenience store, but now there's a high-level Horde leader monsters residing there, said Gao Feng sternly. No matter what, we won't approach that area. I heard that the high-level Horde leader there has 2 low-level Horde leaders, large amounts of commanders, and uncountable amounts of soldier monsters there. It's the tyrant of a 20 to 30-mile radius. Luo Feng took in a deep breath. A high-level Horde leader and 2 low-level Horde leaders? What kind of group is this? Of course, they can only be a tyrant in the outskirts like this. In the city, Horde leader-level monsters are everywhere. Gao Feng waved his hand. All right, we'll rest for the night. Tomorrow, we'll start our journey in the number 003 city. Yes, Captain. Luo Feng and the others exchanged glances and let out smiles. Bleeding, the couple hundred bird monsters flew past from above the small sector, and some of them even flew past the apartment buildings. The closest monster was just 20 to 30 meters away from Luo Feng and the others. Everyone entered the rooms and rest. The windows of the rooms aren't big, so the flying monsters can't fly in here. Today, Chengu and Wei Tai, you two rotate and keep watch for the night. In number 003 city, even if Luo Feng and the others want to sleep, they have to let someone keep watch. Nobody dared to relax, for this was an amusement park to the monsters, a den to the humans, and a battlefield to the fighters. After the night dawned, Luo Feng stood on the balcony of the 12th floor. The winter chill of the morning touched his face, startling Luo Feng's spirit. "It's around 5 or 6 degrees below zero today," laughed Gao Feng. "It is a bit cold." Luo Feng looked down from the balcony and saw a monster hunting for prey. But right in the morning, there are already quite a bit of monsters in the area. "Look, there are around 12 monsters in my field of vision, and 3 of them are commander level. HMHM, number 003 city is indeed the camp of the monsters." Gao Feng laughed. Indeed, in a regular city, a commander usually leads around a few hundred regular monsters. They have lots of authority. And in the city that Luo Feng stayed in to train his blade technique, a commander-level monster had around a few hundred to even a few thousand monsters under its control. In a city, the fewer the commanders, the more monsters each one can lead. But in number 003 city, even in the outskirts, a commander-level monster only has around 2 to 3 soldiers with it. Sometimes they have none, becoming a leader without any followers. These are all weaker commanders. They don't have many followers. As for the stronger commanders and even horde leaders, they'll have tens of thousands of followers. Gao Feng turned his head to look at the others. "Everyone, wake up. Let's go hunt the monsters below. Let's go, brothers. Let's earn some money." Chingu couldn't help but to laugh as he said, "This number 003 city is full of opportunity. Commanders are everywhere." The eyes of Wei Qing and Wei Tai flashed. "Number 003 city is dangerous, but chances exist together with danger. There are many powerful monsters here, and if you don't have enough skill, you'll easily die. Even if you're powerful, once you get surrounded by a horde, you're also finished. However, the commanders here don't have many followers, so it's much easier to hunt these commanders." Whoosh! 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 Luo Feng was in front of the staircase, and after using his spiritual force to scan the corners, waved his hand. "No problem. No monsters in a 20-meter radius. Monsters usually lie in ambush from the corners, and Luo Feng's spiritual force is the best detector." "Being with a spirit reader is fantastic," smiled Chingu. "Everyone watch yourselves. Don't make a sound. Monsters' ears are very sensitive." Gao Feng glared at Chingu, and Chingu immediately shut up. Luo Feng was leading while Gao Feng was in the back. Wei Tai and Wei Qing were on the 2 sides, and Chingu was in the middle. Luo Feng's gaze landed on a 3 horned boars around 100 meters away. One of the horned boars was extremely large, and its horn was black. Unlike the usual gray fur, its needle-like fur was black. All of this pointed to its identity low-level commander. "It's that," Luo Feng said quietly. "I'll take care of that horned boar ahead." Everyone watched the surroundings. Whoosh! 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 Luo Feng charged ahead while the 4 in the back naturally spread out according to the formation. They were watching for other commander monsters, or if there were other human fighters trying to interfere. Howl! The commander-level horned boar saw the human Luo Feng rushing alone and immediately howled. Its speed shot to 100 meters per second, which is around 360 kilometers per hour. And that horned boar was charging straight at Luo Feng. With its body size, the force of impact would be enough to even smash open a truck. Luo Feng held his ghost blade and kept his regular speed of around 60 to 70 meters per second. The two met. Luo Feng's speed instantly rose, and with a step, he accurately dodged to the centimeter. Meanwhile, Luo Feng's blade was drawing up. As the blade went, it increased in speed twice, making the blade blurry. It became a blinding light. The cold light of the blade was like a thunderbolt, and it drew across the neck of the horned boar. The light of the blade was like a mist from a dream, and instantly dispersed. Blade technique thunderbolt. First success. Poochie, Poochie. The two seemingly simple slashes from Luo Feng's ghost blade instantly slashed across the necks of the other 2 soldier-level horned boars. Rumble. The commander-level horned boar, who lost its life, continued to sprint for around 10 more meters before falling to the ground with a rumble. It slid on the ground for a few dozen meters before smashing into a large, tough tree that has been growing on the side for dozens of years, causing the entire tree to shake a bit before stopping. HMHM. Nice job, destroying a commander-level monster with just blade technique alone, Chungu and the others huddled around. You've improved quite a bit, Gao Feng was also happy, and he was already heading over to dissect the corpse of the monster. My technique, along with my blade technique and bountiful experience, made killing a low-level commander so easy. Luo Feng was amazed inside. Since he killed over 10,000 monsters, Luo Feng was able to remain perfectly calm when dealing with these monsters, enabling him to use his blade technique and technique to their maximum. N/O/vel/B//and.C//om. Using the smallest amount of strength to instantly get rid of the opponent. Alright, dissection complete. Gao Feng let out a smile. Let's see, we can hunt quite a bit of commander-level monsters today. Go. To the next one, Luo Feng also let out a smile. Everyone in the Fire Hammer squad were in high spirits. In number 003 city, even though they knew that they were going to be able to hunt many monsters, once they actually started fighting, Luo Feng realized. Holy shit, they weren't killing monsters. They were basically printing money. Even a money printer wouldn't be able to make as much money as Luo Feng and the others were making right now. The materials of a low-level commander are worth around 5 million, 15 million. The materials of a medium-level commander are worth around 10 million, 100 million. The materials of a high-level commander are worth around 50 million, 600 to 700 million. Of course, there are some exceptions, like some extremely rare monster or some high-level commander that's approaching the Horde leader level. Naturally, the prices for their materials will be higher. But most of the monsters fit the price range above. The Fire Hammer squad killed around 10 commanders a day. Of course, most of them were low-level commanders. The amount of money they made was simply shocking. After fighting for 10 days, Luo Feng and the others killed 92 low-level commanders and 3 medium-level commanders. The estimated price for them is probably $1 billion. Since they fought hard for 10 days, Luo Feng and the others were quite tired, so they took a good day to rest. After that, they kept hunting monsters and it's just that the monsters in the area have clearly decreased by a significant amount. The 15th day. On the 12th floor of the 18-story apartment building, Luo Feng and the others were resting. Captain, we rarely see any low-level commanders near this area anymore, said Chungu hopelessly. It can't be helped. We've been killing quite cruelly recently, laughed Gao Feng. But no need to rush. Monsters come in groups. According to my estimations, the amount of monsters here will start increasing within 10 days. All we have to do is quietly defend here, since we're familiar with the area. Luo Feng also nodded. Even though this area was big, Luo Feng and the others memorized it completely these past few days. Looks like number 003 city is still the best for making money. Wei Tai couldn't help but to be amazed. Even though Luo Feng and Gao Feng mainly did all the work, Wei Tai, Wei Qing, and Chungu still benefit greatly. After dividing the money, each of them will get over 100 million. Before, in the small cities, commanders were rare. Wei Qing and Wei Tai probably couldn't earn 100 million in a year. But now they passed that amount in just 15 days. Of course, the bigger the gain, the bigger the risks. In these past few days, Luo Feng and the others also encountered an assault from a flying monster. Thankfully, they hid in the house and relied on Luo Feng's throwing knives to scare them away. Tons of money? It's not a lot at all, laughed Gao Feng. It's normal for a spirit reader to earn billions a year. The only reason we're able to stay here is mainly thanks to Luo Feng. Haha, Chungu, Wei Qing, and Wei Tai couldn't help but to start laughing. Captain, don't say that. It's because of your help that killing these monsters became that much easier. Luo Feng was telling the truth when he said that. It's impossible for one person to pay attention to all of his surroundings. Some squads have 3 members responsible for keeping watch and to remove potential dangers. And only with the help of an intermediate warlord like Gao Feng will Luo Feng's efficiency be high. Luo Feng and the others talked in a relaxed manner, but their voices weren't raised high. Chungu looked down through the laser aimer of his heavy sniper rifle and suddenly said, Asterisk, 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 asterisk. A big one's here. What? Luo Feng and the others basically immediately came over and looked through their binoculars. Luo Feng looked carefully. In an apartment building far away, the corners were filled with vines and moss. And in these vines was a gigantic snake that was 20 meters long and as thick as a person's waist. The snake's body had black stripes, and the closer they got to its head, the thicker they became. The very end of the gigantic snake split into two triangular snake heads, and both of these heads had a bulge on their foreheads. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. Is this the snake-type monster, black-striped, that has lethal poison? Cursed Gao Feng under his voice. And this is even a mutated snake-type monster, twin-headed black-striped snake. And it's almost growing a horn and becoming a dragon. Luo Feng also took in a deep breath. A mutated black-striped snake that's almost a dragon? This thing shouldn't be a black-striped snake that's about to become a dragon. It's surely a high-level commander and nearing the horde leader level. Gao Feng's expression was extremely serious, and he said in a small voice, and since it's a mutated twin-headed black-striped snake, its venom is many times more powerful than a regular black-striped snake. It also has 2 venom sacs, and each of those venom sacs are worth double the amount of a non-mutated black-striped snake. In other words, this twin-headed black-striped snake is worth the same amount as 4 black-striped snakes of the same level. A black-striped snake that's about to become a dragon is worth around 400 million. So this twin-headed black-striped snake is worth 1.6 billion. The price is comparable to a regular low-level horde leader monster. After Gao Feng said these numbers, the heart rate of the others started increasing rapidly. They have killed hundreds of commander-level monsters over the past few days. But all of that is not even close to the amount of money that the twin-headed black-striped snake is worth. Obviously, killing stronger monsters earns money at a higher rate. Of course, this twin-headed black-striped snake is extremely dangerous. Once you get bit by it or get poisoned by it in any way, it's certain death. Gao Feng said lowly, and it has 2 brains, so both heads can attack the enemy together. Are we doing this? Gao Feng looked towards the other members of the squad and finally laid his eyes on Luo Feng. Everyone was silent as they looked at Luo Feng. Luo Feng was the one to make the decision. A twin-headed black-striped snake would make them tons of money, but at the same time, it's extremely dangerous. I'm in. Luo Feng clenched his teeth. Captain, what about you? With his spiritual force, his dodging would be unpredictable. Luo Feng, help me a bit if there's trouble. Gao Feng clenched his teeth. Fighters are supposed to walk on the border of life and death. Wei Tai, give me your shield. Here, Captain. Wei Tai had no hesitation as he gave his shield to Gao Feng, and Gao Feng put one of his hammers on the ground. He had a shield in his left hand and a hammer in his right. He laughed at himself. After all this time, I still rarely use a shield in combat. However, this twin-headed black-striped snake is just too dangerous. If I don't use a shield, I'll actually be quite scared. Captain, I'll attack from afar, and you attack up close, said Luo Feng quietly. If something happens, I'll use my spiritual force on your shield or hammer, and you can use that force to dodge away. Understood, Gao Feng nodded. Luo Feng looked at the other 3 and said, I'll go down with the captain, you guys stay here. Oh yeah, Brother Chin, aim with your sniper rifle. And make sure nobody tries to take advantage of us and steal the kill. No worries, I'll keep aiming below, laughed Chingu slightly. If you want me to fire, just notify me directly. Okay. Through the Tactical Communications Watch, members of a squad can keep in touch anytime. Captain, let's go. Luo Feng and Gao Feng speeded down the stairs. Against a monster of this level, Chingu and the others could do nothing to help. Luo Feng and Gao Feng reached the ground and, using their memory, went along a ruined, stony path towards the location of the twin-headed black-striped snake. Boom in /o/vel/b//in.c//om. Hiss, the ear-piercing hiss of the snake carried over from far away. Luo Feng and Gao Feng exchanged glances, and the Tactical Communications Watch slightly vibrated at the same time. Luo Feng lowered his head to look, and a line of words appeared on the Tactical Communications Watch. three people suddenly appeared and are currently in an intense battle with the twin-headed black striped snake. Gao Feng also received the news and said quietly, "Didn't think that some other group would get to it first. However, let's go take a look." "Let's go," Luo Feng also nodded. The two of them rapidly got close and quickly arrived at the corner of a residential apartment. Past the corner, Luo Feng caught a glimpse of the three men currently fighting against the twin-headed black striped snake around a few dozen meters away. The three men looked like they were from Western or Southern Asia. Their hair was slightly curly and their skin color was slightly dark. The bald man who seemed to be the leader of these three men held a dark, golden bow staff around 3 meters long. The staff in his hand was like a swimming dragon. Every time the triangular head of the twin-headed black striped snake hissed as it flew over to him, the bow staff would always be quick enough to smash the snake. Even if it couldn't smash the head, it would still smash the body of the twin-headed black striped snake. Sometimes the point on the head of the bow staff would connect, causing the twin-headed black striped snake to hiss in rage. As for the other two, they both held a rectangular shield in one hand and a gigantic scimitar in the other. These two were close together and attacked as a team. Their coordination was amazing. Pung! The rusty fitness machines that filled the sector from long ago were all smashed open by the swinging tail of the twin-headed black striped snake, and the bald brute also retreated rapidly. The bow staff turned and formed a whirlwind that blocked all of the scrap metal, and the master of the staff retreated rapidly. "Great bow staff technique," Gao Feng couldn't help but to say quietly. "This bald guy is probably an advanced level warlord. The other two are probably medium level warlords." Luo Feng nodded. This brute dared to go head-to-head with the twin-headed black striped snake, so it's easy to tell that he's strong. SISI. The twin-headed black striped snake was enraged, and the cold eyes of the two gigantic snake heads were enough to send chills down your spine. It repeatedly widely opened its mouth as it attacked. Under the attack of the twin-headed black striped snake, the three of them retreated rapidly and started to exchange words. After hearing the conversation between the three, Luo Feng and Gao Feng instantly determined Indians. After the battle, one of the heads of the twin-headed black striped snake was bleeding. It was smashed by the bow staff of the bald brute. However, this wound was clearly not fatal. Whoosh! 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 The three Indians swiftly headed towards the direction of Luo Feng and Gao Feng. "Feel free to fight it if you can," the bald brute squeezed out some Chinese. At this time, the twin-headed black snake was hissing as it charged over. Luo Feng and Gao Feng laughed coldly and didn't say much, and then swiftly dodged to the side. They weren't stupid enough to charge directly at a twin-headed black striped snake. The leader of the three Indians, the bald brute, couldn't help but to curse under his voice and then shot his 3-meter-long bow staff at the twin-headed black striped snake. Now is the time. Luo Feng already grabbed his black throwing knife as he dodged, and this was a 9th series throwing knife. He threw it with lightning speed. The throwing knife formed a cold light as it shot towards the left head of the twin-headed black striped snake. As an existence that is almost a dragon, the twin-headed black striped snake is extremely intelligent. It saw that the insignificant human threw a throwing knife, so its left head swiftly waved. The brain of a snake has always worked extremely quickly. The left head of the twin-headed black striped snake instantly became blurred. Its intellect was used against itself, laughed Luo Feng coldly. "Change." He purposefully threw his throwing knife to make the wiseacre twin-headed black striped snake to think he used hidden weapons. Using common sense, throwing knives can't change direction in the air. Sadly, Luo Feng wasn't some hidden weapons expert, but was tens to hundreds of times stronger than a hidden weapons expert. When there was just barely a meter left between the throwing knife and the twin-headed black striped snake, the knife slightly changed direction. Just this slight change caused the knife to charge towards one of the eyes of the twin-headed black striped snake's left head. Hiss! The twin-headed black striped snake hissed out of rage, and in that short moment, actually made a dodging movement with its left head. know that Luo Feng's throwing knife was already going at a few times faster than the speed of sound, even faster than a sniper bullet, a distance of 1 meter and a speed several times the speed of sound, not even a thousandth of a second. And since the throwing knife was moving so quickly, even Luo Feng couldn't be sure that he changed it at 1 meter or 1.5 meters. Since the throwing knife was so fast, a slight delay means that the knife could have moved forward by 10 meters already. Even if he reacts quickly, in that short moment, Luo Feng can only change the knife's direction once. And in just that short moment, not only did the twin-headed black striped snake react, but it also dodged. Of course, since it was such a short moment, the twin-headed black striped snake dodged under extreme circumstances. Pew! The throwing knife shot at the mouth of the twin-headed black striped snake and drew out a gap and grazed the twin-headed black striped snake's scales. Chi-chi! It only left a white mark, and the throwing knife directly reflected into the ground. Such horrifying defense, Luo Feng was startled. Such amazing dodging capabilities. It changed direction in such a short distance, and this twin-headed black striped snake was still able to dodge. This is going to be a problem. Luo Feng knew that getting rid of this twin-headed black striped snake by himself would be extremely difficult. Hiss! The two heads of the twin-headed black striped snake both turned towards Luo Feng. Its left head had a huge gap in its mouth, and a deep, green-colored blood flowed out continuously. The bald brute who wielded the long bow staff laughed loudly, and as he retreated, he yelled in his awkward Chinese, "Team up, split half." His gaze was on Luo Feng. Luo Feng and Gao Feng exchanged glances. "All right," said Luo Feng. "Okay." Gao Feng even purposefully made a gesture. The three Indians and Luo Feng and Gao Feng, both groups instantly made their decision to cooperate. The bald brute's strength earned Luo Feng and Gao Feng's recognition, while Luo Feng's throwing knives earned the three Indians' recognition. Only with strength can you earn others' attention and respect. And outside of Wanke Dream City was a fighter squad of 9 that was currently slowly heading forward. In this squad of 9 were the members of the Tiger Fong squad. HM? That's the sound of a snake, and an extremely powerful one at that. Out of the 9, a veteran whose hair was white spoke. In Wanke Dream City's ruined, barren land was a sound of rumbling. A snake as thick as a person's waist charged like lightning towards the two scimitar-wielding Indians. The two Indians leaped with a whoosh 5 or 6 meters high and grabbed the window railing of an apartment building. The snake's tail then cruelly smashed into a tree on the side. From around 5 or 6 meters up the tree was a kacha sound as it directly split open and rumbled as it fell. "Ha, trying to kill me?" At this time, Luo Feng was sprinting quickly with a shield in one hand. The two heads of the twin-headed black striped snake were crazily chasing after Luo Feng. Whoosh! Whoosh! He swung his arm, and 2 throwing knives came out. It seemed like Luo Feng used his arm to throw them, but actually, the throwing knives were completely controlled by spiritual force right when they were thrown, causing the 2 throwing knives to accelerate to an amazing speed. And I would barely be able to see 2 blurred, cold lights headed towards the twin-headed black striped snake. Hiss! The twin-headed black striped snake roared as it tried to dodge. Change! Luo Feng's gaze was cold. The 2 throwing knives slightly changed direction, but not by a large amount. Since the throwing knives were way faster than bullets fired from a sniper rifle, the others couldn't even tell that the throwing knives changed direction. Poochie! Chi! One of the 2 throwing knives grazed the left head of the snake as it flew by, but the other throwing knife hit the left head. Ever since they started fighting, Luo Feng already let out 6 throwing knives, and all 6 of these throwing knives were attacking the snake's left head. At this time, the snake's left head was covered with fresh blood, and its wounds were shocking. Ooh! Luo Feng's body was extremely light, and his sprinting speed was startling. The bow staff-wielding leader of the Indian group made an excited shout and chased the snake, as if it was a running dog, while it was chasing after Luo Feng. One hit after another, he fiercely shot his staff towards the twin-headed black striped snake's right head. The twin-headed black striped snake didn't dare to use its head to block the alloyed staff, so it could only dodge. Know that, even though this staff doesn't seem powerful and isn't sharp like a spear, once it makes contact, all of its power will be focused on the tip. The area of the tip isn't large, so that small tip is like a blunt weapon. Come on, Indian, keep at it, Hal Gaofeng. The other two large scimitar and shield-wielding Indian fighters, with Gaofeng, closely attacked the body of the twin-headed black striped snake. First, doing this prevented the twin-headed black striped snake from using its tail to attack Luo Feng and the Indian leader. Second, they also wanted to attack this giant snake at around 7 inches. The snake's weak point is at 7 inches. Of course, 7 inches is an abstract number. The main point is to attack its vital organs, *n/o/vel /b/c/om. Note: refer to the end for more information. Even though the snake was confident in its defense, it still didn't want to let Gaofeng and the other two aim for its vitals. So the snake retracted its tail and wrapped it, as it tried to think of a way to deal with Gaofeng and the other two. Whoosh! The shield in Luo Feng's left hand was affected by spiritual force, and after Luo Feng exerted force in his foot, he intensely flew straight towards Captain Gaofeng's position. When he was near Gaofeng, Luo Feng whispered, "Captain, when you get near the snake to attack, use your hammer and smash right towards this snake's left head." He understood. Gaofeng immediately understood what Luo Feng meant. Luo Feng's movements on the battlefield were strange and erratic. He never got close to the snake. He just relied on his amazing speed to hover around the battlefield. "Yeah!" The Indian leader suddenly shouted, and his face reddened. The blood in his body was pumping to its limit. For a moment, his body looked like a legendary Buddhist arhat. The bow staff in his body rapidly and ferociously increased in speed, and, as if he was throwing away his life, he charged straight towards the twin-headed black striped snake. The speed of the bow staff reached its limit, and in a blink of an eye, dozens of shadows were smashing towards the snake. Bang! Bang! 2 of the dozens of shadows smashed directly into the snake's right head. The right head of the gigantic snake couldn't help but to shake, as if it was going to faint. With a rumble, the snake's right head directly fell onto the ground. Hiss! The left head of the twin-headed black striped snake immediately let out a horrifying growl, and its large, soft body suddenly moved. It actually shot up and speedily ran in a wavy motion. "Hurry!" The Indian leader, the bald brute, quickly roared. Gaofeng, who always stuck close to the twin-headed black striped snake, roared, "Die!" He used all of the power in his body to ferociously swing the heavy hammer in his hand. The heavy hammer was like an artillery shell as it cruelly smashed towards the left head of the twin-headed black striped snake. The left head of the twin-headed black striped snake immediately dodged away. Luo Feng, who wasn't too far away, saw this and concentrated all of his spiritual force on the heavy hammer, instantly accelerating it by a huge margin. Prung! The twin-headed black striped snake instantly dodged away. But even though the heavy hammer didn't directly hit its head, it still hit the neck. With Gao Feng's extreme power and Luo Feng's spiritual force as support, the force of impact of this hammer was unrivaled. The left head of the twin-headed black striped snake also couldn't help but to fall to the ground with a dizzy motion. But right when it regained consciousness and was going to raise its head back up, Luo Feng let out a smile. Poochie! A black knife instantly came out of the ground, went along the face of the left head of the snake, and directly shot into the head. The left head didn't rise up again. Pew! The alloyed bow staff of the bald brute Indian leader shot like lightning towards the eye of the right head, destroyed it, and then pierced the right head of the twin-headed black striped snake. The twin-headed black striped snake already lost its life, but its gigantic body was still twisting around unconsciously. The movement slowed down, and then it never moved again. Ha! The Indian leader couldn't help but to laugh loudly. Beautiful Gaofeng was also happy as he went to pick up his hammer. Luo Feng was also smiling as he went to pick up his throwing knives. From beginning to end, the Indians probably never realized that their weapons were being controlled by spiritual force, especially the last hit. Only until the head of the twin-headed black, striped snake fell on the ground did Luo Feng's throwing knife come out of the ground to pierce its head. Friend, the bald brute smiled towards Luo Feng and Gao Feng and made a greeting. Good, asterisk. Note, he said good in English. You aren't so bad either, laughed Luo Feng as he said. He could tell that the Indian staked his life on his final move. Even now, the bald brute's face was completely flushed and his veins were still bursting. You guys get half, we get half, spoke the bald brute. Luo Feng pointed at the left head of the snake and slightly smiled. The scales are half-half too. Both sides felt each other's strength. Whether Luo Feng's squad or the Indian squad, both probably have heated weapons aiming from a hidden area. That, and both parties are powerful. So both of them were in a good mood. Luo Feng and Gao Feng started dissecting the left head of the twin-headed black, striped snake, and the Indians dissected the right head. Luo Feng, that blade was cruel, whispered Gao Feng. Luo Feng laughed as he took out the black, throwing knife from the head of the snake after dissecting it. It was indeed that strike that killed the left head. Suddenly, Luo Feng and Gao Feng quickly turned over to look, and the faces of the three members of the Indian squad also changed as they looked. 9 human fighters from not too far away started walking towards them. Most of them were yellow. When these 9 people came and saw the gigantic snake in front of them, they instantly determined the price of it, a few $1 billion. With such a huge amount of wealth, quite a few people would show their inner greed. Please go away, the bald, brute leader of the Indian group squeezed out some Chinese. Who would have thought that we'd meet the Tiger Fong squad here too? You sure linger around us. Gao Feng's gaze scanned across the group in front of him. Luo Feng looked silently. Out of the 9 people in front of them, other than the 6 members of the Tiger Fong squad, there was an old veteran, a huge white brute, and a mixed youth. Ah, Gao Feng, you guys actually teamed up with Indians. HM. But for you guys to kill this twin-headed black striped snake, how rare, the captain of the Tiger Fong squad laughed coldly. If you're wise, you'd hurry up and off. If so, our Thunderbolt squad might spare your lives, or else. HM, don't blame us. Oh, Senior Lu here is the captain of our Thunderbolt squad. Mr. Ka Long here is our vice captain. Senior Lu was that old veteran, and Ka Long was that white brute. Luo Feng's gaze was cold. This is my first time here in number 003 city. This prey is mine. You guys can leave, said the mixed youth as he smiled. The old veteran and the white brute stood on the 2 sides of the mixed youth as they scanned Luo Feng's group. Whoever dares to steal my prey dies, said the bald brute leader of the Indian group. The 2 scimitar-wielding Indians beside him were also displaying their killing intent. Do you think killing this twin-headed black-striped snake was easy? First of all, this valuable, mutated monster was already rare in the first place, and the battle was bitter too. Gao Feng also held his twin hammers with a fearsome gaze. If you want to steal it, then come. Luo Feng stepped on the head of the snake and gave out a cold laugh as he looked at the group in front of him. If we can kill this twin-headed black-striped snake, then your group. Oh yeah. Our brother's sniper rifle is aimed right at your group. Our sniper rifle is also aimed at you, said one of the scimitar-wielding men of the Indian group coldly. Sniper? Quite a few of the 9 couldn't help but to raise their heads to the surrounding residential apartments, but not even a shadow could be seen in these ruined buildings. But because they couldn't see them, they became even more afraid. The Tiger Fong squad was clear. The Firehammer squad had Chun Gu as their sniper. And would the Indian group not bring their own professional snipers? Usually, a heavy sniper rifle can barely threaten a low-level commander-level monster. But monsters are different from humans. Humans are powerful, but the defense of their skin and muscle is much lower than the defense of the monster's fur and scales. This is also why human fighters have to wear battle uniforms. If an intermediate-level warlord fighter gets shot, even if he doesn't die, he would still suffer a heavy wound. However, a sniper rifle is much less threatening to an advanced-level warlord-level fighter. And as for a war god, a sniper rifle can't even threaten a war god at all. It looks like the old veteran and the white brute are protecting the mixed youth, So he's the most important member of the squad. Luo Feng's gaze scanned across the Thunderbolt squad. Some of the members of the Thunderbolt squad were raised towards the residential apartments, searching for the sniper's locations. And some of them exchanged glances. Silence. Luo Feng, Gao Feng, the Indians, and the Thunderbolt squad were all silent for a bit. Senior Lu, the Tiger Fong captain, looked towards the indifferent, balding veteran. This balding veteran frowned and looked at him, and the Tiger Fong captain immediately shut up. The old, balding veteran then said quietly to the mixed youth's ear, "Young master, since you want to come here to train, you should fight against the monsters personally." The mixed youth looked at the veteran and then turned his head to the white brute. The white brute also slightly nodded. "All right, let's go," ordered the mixed youth helplessly. His father has seriously warned him. After entering the wilderness, he must listen to his two bodyguards. Even though the leader of the squad is technically the old veteran, but the actual leader is this mixed youth. And now that the mixed youth gave his order, the members of the Tiger Fong squad stared at Gao Feng and Luo Feng with a look of dissatisfaction. Zhang Zhe, who even cursed under his breath. "Luo Feng kid, you got lucky this time." Zhang Zhe, who didn't even try to hide his hatred for Luo Feng. It has always been clear that the Tiger Fong squad and the Firehammer squad weren't on good terms. Very quickly, the 9 members of the Thunderbolt squad left. Wankud Dream City is gigantic in area, and the Thunderbolt squad continued to move forward in this small sector. Panya, as they walked on the road, the old veteran frowned as he spoke. Senior Lu, the captain of the Tiger Fong squad, neared and lowered himself. The old veteran named Lu spoke solemnly. "Since you Tiger Fong squad members accepted this mission, you should know that the young master's safety takes priority over everything. That twin-headed black striped snake is indeed a treasure, but is not even close to the importance of young master's safety. If something happened to the young master, not only will I not be able to escape, but all of you Tiger Fong squad members will die too." The Tiger Fong squad captain froze and soon nodded. "Understood." "Okay. As long as you understand," said the old veteran named Lu coldly, "we'll soon arrive at a ruined JJ liquor chain store. The young master will then kill the monsters in that area. If you guys want to steal others' prey, do it yourselves. Don't drag in the young master." "I understand." The captain of the Tiger Fong squad replied that, but was cursing in his heart. Which fighter squad in the vicinity of number 003 city is weak? If it wasn't for the 2 advanced-level warlords, the old veteran named Lu and the white brute, the Tiger Fong squad doesn't even have the power to steal prey. The Tiger Fong captain slightly nodded. "I understand. The Firehammer squad dared to enter number 003 city, so I understand that their skill has increased. Captain, we can't delay anymore. Especially that Luo Feng. He just became a fighter not too recently." "I heard he's already a beginner-level warlord," said Zhang Zhe, who hurriedly. Zhang Zhe, who is clearly the one who holds the most hatred for Luo Feng. "This kid does have surprising potential," the Tiger Fong captain said lowly. "Leaving our enemies like that will just make their threat to us larger and larger. Since we met them in the wilderness this time, well, good, I'll think of a way in these few days to kill them directly. Or else, I'll spend some money and ask Senior Lu and the other senior to help." On the grass of the residential apartments filled with the scent of blood, Luo Feng, Gao Feng, and the 3 Indians were dissecting the gigantic snake. Not only did they take out the poison sacs, but they also took out things like the bladder. Of course, they'll have to skin it. The skin of this twin-headed black striped snake is worth quite a bit. Half! Half! The Indian group and Luo Feng's group quickly split apart the large amounts of material. No matter toughness or hardness, the scales of this snake is amazing. Gao Feng couldn't help but to say as he touched the scales. These scales are definitely important materials for battle uniform production. The most important invention by Manka Luo alloy is mainly made from all sorts of monsters material. Of course, it was the blue gold metal found on the moon that finally made the Koluo alloy. Koluo alloy allows human fighters to wear battle uniforms with extremely high defense and wield blades that are unrivaled in sharpness. Even some heated weapons gain a huge increase in power. "Cooperate great," the Indian leader, the bald brute, squeezed out some Chinese as he greeted Luo Feng and Gao Feng. Ah, great, Gao Feng also laughed. Luo Feng and Gao Feng both carried their bulging bags and headed upstairs. The snake scales seemed to have a huge area, but they were actually very thin. Half of the snake scales stacked together can't even fill up one bag. And fighters' bags already had amazing elasticity. With the bag's mechanism, you can adjust the size of the bag. At its largest, you can make it as large as a regular man. However, that size isn't needed for these scales. They quickly arrived at the 12th floor of the residential building. Right when they entered, they were greeted with cheering. Warm welcome, shouted Wei Tai purposefully. Welcome back, Captain and Luo Feng. From your battle, Chenggu also said purposefully. Of course they were happy. Since Luo Feng and Gao Feng came back successfully, they would get quite a bit of money too. Gao Feng didn't have such a happy look on his face. You guys saw the members of the Tiger Feng squad, right? We saw them. The faces of Chenggu, Wei Tai, and Wei Qing immediately sank. Chenggu even grit his teeth. I even wanted to shoot them in revenge for old Jiang. Out of the entire squad, Chenggu was clearly the closest to Zhang Ku, since they were both from Mingyue sector. Together throughout the life-threatening times, together as they went back home. All these years, they're even closer than brothers. But Chenggu knew he couldn't fire back them. Even if he was able to kill someone, the Thunderbolt squad would certainly immediately take action. At that point, there's no turning back. Chenggu, where's the Tiger Feng squad right now? Asked Luo Feng. We've been watching them the whole time. At the northern window, Wei Qing held his binoculars as he looked down. That group just walked out of the Dream City sector and are walking east along that street. Whoosh! Whoosh! Luo Feng and the others immediately went. Luo Feng first took the binoculars and looked downwards. Indeed, the 9 members of the Thunderbolt squad were walking along a street a few miles away. Thankfully, Luo Feng and the others picked a good residential building, a tall building that was farthest up north in their sector. In front of their residential building towards the northern sector were just some short buildings, so they could freely look towards the northern area. Captain, Brother Chun, spoke Luo Feng. The members of the Fire Hammer squad all looked towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng couldn't help but to clench his fists and say with his teeth clenched, I'll never forget what they did to Brother Jiang. I swore long ago. Once I meet the trash of the Tiger Feng squad in the wilderness, I'll destroy them. Luo Feng, your point is, said Gao Feng in a surprised tone. I'll go after them secretly and find a chance to kill all the members of the Tiger Feng squad. Since they were prepared to kill all of us, of course we have to strike first. Luo Feng will never forget the 2 sniper rifle bullets. One of them was barely dodged thanks to his spiritual force. But the other one handicapped Brother Jiang. Luo Feng, I'll go with you. We have to avenge Brother Jiang, said Chenggu with his teeth clenched. Brother Chun, going alone is best for me, Luo Feng said in a low tone. With my spiritual force, I can escape even from a war god just by flying. This is why spirit readers are horrifying. Even if a war god fighter is tens to hundreds of times stronger than them, even a weak spirit reader can fly. Other than spirit readers, only existences that surpass the war god level can fly. Chenggu, Luo Feng is right. You'll just be a burden, commanded Gao Feng. Chenggu clenched his teeth. The captain said it in a bad way, but he knew the captain said it for his own good. And if we want to destroy the Tiger Feng squad, then wouldn't they try to destroy us too? Said Gao Feng. Ever since their scheme from last time, of course they wouldn't want us to live. However, they just haven't met us in the wilderness. Now that they've met us, they'll take action for sure. Everyone there was surprised. Indeed, with the way the Tiger Feng squad handles things, they'll definitely do something like this. We killed enough monsters this time anyway and our bags are almost full. The other members of the squad will first return to the resupplying base, said Gao Feng, and then look towards Luo Feng. Luo Feng, you're a spirit reader. No one knows how many times better you are at escaping than us, but you still have to be careful and not let your guard down. Luo Feng nodded. As they talked, the members took up their binoculars and observed where the Thunderbolt squad was headed. They entered the JJ liquor chain store, said Chun Gu excitedly. Looks like that'll be their temporary base. No delay, let's go now, said Gao Feng clearly. Luo Feng also stood up and saw the captain and the others off. This was already the border of the city, so Luo Feng saw the captain and the others off in just 2 to 3 miles on the highway. After leaving the number 003 city section, there were barely any monsters. It'll be weird if something happens to the Fire Hammer squad on the highway with their current strength. Luo Feng, be careful. Gao Feng and the other members of the Fire Hammer squad looked towards Luo Feng. NOVL B //JNN. This time, Luo Feng is going to take up the Fire Hammer squad's task alone. Captain, don't worry. None of the members of the Tiger Fong squad will make it out alive, laughed Luo Feng. And then he became a shadow and disappeared into the distance and towards the city densely filled with. At times, Luo Feng would sprint, and at times, Luo Feng would suddenly hide behind a wall, waiting for the hungry monsters to pass by. Only until they pass does Luo Feng start moving forward again. With his spiritual force scanning the area, Luo Feng can correctly determine whether or not there's danger ahead. This house then, like a cannonball, Luo Feng directly flew into the 3rd story's window of a 3-story villa. Since no one has lived here for dozens of years, the room was long filled with dust. However, a few electronic household appliances could be discerned with just a look. It's just that most of them were already split apart and broken. Luo Feng quickly flipped the Simmons mattress, since the opposite side was much cleaner. After a bit of cleaning up, he can sleep on it. After putting his bag down, Luo Feng took out his binoculars and went to the northern window. The window had tons of dust all over it, making the once transparent window seem like a black window. After opening the window halfway, Luo Feng took his binoculars and looked towards the north. His current position is within Wanku Dream City's inner sector. From here, he can clearly see the northern JJ liquor chain store. He can also see the street in front of the liquor store. Since there's only a difference of 2 miles between the street and his villa, with Luo Feng's eyesight, he doesn't even need binoculars to see what's happening on the street. But with the binoculars, he can see more clearly. Luo Feng stood in front of the window and watched silently. 5 minutes later, Luo Feng let out a face of happiness. It was originally that building. Through the binoculars, Luo Feng could see 2 people standing on the rooftop of the 6-story liquor chain store 5 miles away. They were both currently holding binoculars, and the 2 were Zhang Zhe, Hu, and a gunner named Li Xiao. I have to wait for my chance. Luo Feng put down his binoculars and started his days of observation. At this time, inside the JJ liquor chain store, the Tiger Fong captain said coldly, "Tiger Xiao, both of you look closely. We must find out where the Fire Hammer squad is hiding. Since their team's Chungu has to use his sniper rifle, then they must be at a high location. So you guys look towards the higher levels of the tall buildings and search for them." Yes, Captain Zhang Zhe, Hu and Xiao stood on the rooftop and through their binoculars, continuously searched the tall buildings in Wanka Dream City. "Panya, the information you told me about the Fire Hammer squad is correct, right?" The old veteran, whose hair was gray, frowned. The Tiger Fong captain followed. "There is definitely no problem. The information for these 6 people are extremely accurate. Only this Luo Feng's info is changing. He was scouted by the Dojo of Limits and is extremely talented. His strength has already reached the beginner warlord level." "Okay." The old veteran named Lu slightly nodded. "If so, Panya, find me after you have located the Fire Hammer squad's position." "Okay," the Tiger Fong captain responded as he smiled. Unfortunately, the Tiger Fong squad couldn't even find the Fire Hammer squad's shadow. Dawn of the next day. "Young Master, according to the plan, Young Master's goal at dawn today is that low-level commander monster. That monster is high in power, but low in speed." At that time, "Ka Long and I won't help," smiled the old veteran Lu. The mixed youth laughed. "Okay, you and Ka Long watch on the side. I'll take care of it myself." The white brute also smiled. Panya, the old veteran named Lu, turned his head and commanded, "The 2 members of the Tiger Fong squad that were on night watch can rest today. The rest of the members will come with us." As of now, the Tiger Fong squad consists of 2 intermediate level, and 4 beginner-level warlords. Steelhead, Dong. You two were on watch last night, so rest here today, commanded Panya. Protecting that young master is their first priority, so naturally, the members they leave behind are the weakest too. And of course, the two are picked from the 4 beginner warlords. Today it was Steelhead and Dong. Tomorrow it'll be Tiger and Xiao. Taking turns. Understood, the bald brute, and Dong, who was cleaning his gun, smiled. N/O/vel/B//in.C//OM. Let's go, commanded the old veteran named Liu. The mixed youth, the old veteran named Liu, the white brute, and the 4 members of the Tiger Fong squad. The 7 of them left the liquor store, leaving behind the bald brute and Dong in the spacious room. Damn, having a powerful father is just great, the bald brute couldn't help but to say. To gain experience with fighting against monsters, 2 advanced-level warlords can be summoned as bodyguards. Even our whole squad is here to cover him. HM. When I came out here in the wilderness the other year, I had to bring out everything I had with my life on the line. Dong laughed. How can we compare with him? Didn't you hear him? That senior Liu, or whatever. He even said in a tone of a butler the young master's goal for today is a low-level commander monster who is high in power and low in speed. He even has the training session all scheduled out. Which monster to kill first and which monster to kill next. In a dangerous place like the wilderness. When does the fighter ever have the chance to decide anything? If you encounter a powerful monster, can you just immediately shout, "I'm not fighting this monster"? If you don't fight, then the monster will chase after you and force you to act. But that young master is different. If they encounter a powerful monster, then that senior Liu can just take care of it. They'll especially wait for a low-level commander monster for their young master to practice on, laughed the bald brute as he shook his head. Luo Feng, who woke up early in the morning and was already squatting in wait, quickly saw the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad walk out the liquor store. 7? Wasn't there 9 in total? Luo Feng immediately thought. Then the other 2 must still be inside the liquor store. Luo Feng understood his strength well. Against an intermediate-level warlord, he can certainly wipe the floor with them. However, it's hard to say about what will happen if he fights against an advanced-level warlord. For example, he might be able to instantly kill his opponent if he attacks them by surprise. But if that fails, then there'll be a problem. Since in a frontal fight, an advanced-level warlord can immediately dodge away from a sniper rifle bullet. An advanced-level warlord's reaction speed is much higher than his own. Out of the 9 members of the Thunderbolt squad, that white brute and the old veteran named Liu are most likely advanced-level warlords. Or else they wouldn't have been so arrogant and have tried to steal the twin-headed black striped snake's corpse. Let's say that I go alone and face all 9 of them. With a surprise attack and some luck, I might be able to succeed. However, only one of them has to spread the word that I'm the murderer to the world via their communications watch, and once that happens, I'll be in huge trouble. Luo Feng understood that from the old veteran named Liu and the white brute's attitude towards that mixed youth and how they call him young master. That mixed youth's background is extremely horrifying. Since that person can get 2 advanced warlords as bodyguards, then that big person behind the mixed youth is at least a war god, or maybe even a position higher than a war god. Right now, there are only 2 people in the liquor store. Should I kill them? Luo Feng hesitated, and then decided against it. I can't kill them. If I kill these 2, then the other 7 will be on guard. If so, then it'll be much more troublesome to kill the Tiger Fong captain and Zhang Zehu. I don't believe that my chance won't come. Day after day passed, and the Thunderbolt squad never found the Firehammer squad. And Luo Feng never found a good chance to strike. Every time the Thunderbolt squad left the liquor store, only the 2 people who were on night watch remain. First it's Steelhead and Dong, then it's Tiger and Xiao. And they took turns. Luo Feng waited for 9 whole days. Asterisk. They're too systematic. Luo Feng had a bitter face on. This Thunderbolt squad is just that young master's nanny squad. Not only did Luo Feng watch the liquor store, but he also watched the 7 people that came out to hunt these past few days. He tried to see if he could find a moment where the Tiger Fong squad was separated from the old veteran named Liu and the White Brute. But not even one moment was found. The Thunderbolt squad was always protecting that mixed youth and never strayed too far, giving Luo Feng no chance at all. The 10th day. If I keep waiting like this, then I'll probably never get a chance by the time they start to return to the headquarters city. I can't wait anymore. Luo Feng clenched his teeth and a cold light flashed across his eyes. Today is the 10th day, so it should be Zhang Zhe, Hu, and that gunnerly Xiao guarding the liquor store. Zhang Zhe, Hu, I'll destroy both of you two today at the JJ liquor chain store. Tiger, Xiao, you two haven't slept all night, so take a good rest now, said the Tiger Fawn captain, and he smiled. Understood, Captain. Zhang Zhe, Hu, and Li Xiao both smiled as they replied. Let's go. With a command from the old veteran named Liu, the Tiger Fong squad and the others followed him. A total of 7 people left the liquor store, and Luo Feng, who saw that the 7 people have left the store, quietly left his own spot and went along another road headed. The dawn of winter was quite cold, and some of the monsters' corpses on the ground were freezing up. Luo Feng slowly walked on this road, and there were 2 shadow cats enjoyably feasting on a wild boar's flesh. However, right when they realized someone was coming, they quickly hid. Monsters had some intelligence too. In number 003 city, all the humans meddling around here were very powerful, so 1 or 2 soldier-level monsters can't stop them at all. Those 2 shadow cats probably went to summon the other shadow cats. Luo Feng swiftly went through the road and continued going forward, going around in a huge circle on purpose to waste some time. He slowly moved forward and took around half an hour to arrive at the northern door of the liquor store. The door to the liquor store was extremely dirty, and there was some black-colored blood that not even rain can wash away on the ground. Luo Feng stood alone there. It's been half an hour already, so the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad have probably walked far away by now. Luo Feng looked at the door in front of him that has been long broken, and immediately focused his spiritual force onto his armbands, the shield on his back, and his blade. This powerful force made Luo Feng's body extremely light. Every one of his steps became light. Upstairs. He went along the staircase step by step without making even the slightest sound. Luo Feng was extremely careful, but right when he reached the 3rd floor, with a glance, he saw that there was a huge mastiff tiger that was slowly moving forward. That mastiff tiger also instantly found this human fighter, Luo Feng. Both of them practically noticed each other at the exact same time, and Luo Feng was so scared he immediately broke out in a cold sweat. Whoosh! Whoosh! 2 black shadows basically instantly drew across the mastiff tiger monster, and its gigantic head fell off before it even had the chance to roar. The 2 throwing knives flew around in a circle and then landed in the outer pockets of his pants. Phew, no problem, Luo Feng was relieved. Thankfully, this monster didn't remember to roar. If it attracted Zhang Zhe, Hu, and Li Zhao's attention, then there would be some trouble. Even though killing Zhang Zhe, Hu, and Li Xiao is as easy as killing chickens. But if Zhang Zhe, Hu, and Li Xiao were cautious, then they might be able to contact the other members of the Thunderbolt squad right before they die. Once the other members of the Thunderbolt squad know that there's a human fighter targeting them, then Luo Feng's next action would be tens to hundreds of times harder to carry out. 6th floor. Luo Feng couldn't help but to let out a smile when he reached the 6th floor. Luckily, he only encountered 1 monster on the way to the 6th floor. The Thunderbolt squad probably quickly scanned the building the first time they came here, and that mastiff tiger monster probably just entered the liquor store not too long ago. On the hallway of the 6th floor, Luo Feng slowly moved forward. In the room with the window pointed towards the south, the 8th window from east to west, Luo Feng couldn't be sure as to which room this 8th window corresponded to. N/O/vel/b/in.c//om. It's probably one of these 3 or 4 rooms. Luo Feng held his breath, and his light body made no sound. He walked into one of the rooms and stopped, then put his ear near the wall and listened carefully. Indeed, he could slightly hear some chatting sounds, which made Luo Feng determine that those 2 were in that room. He then quietly walked outside the room. It should be this room. Luo Feng scanned the situation of the room with his spiritual force. They're just chatting there? Luo Feng laughed. Inside the room, Zhang Zhe, who was currently sitting against the broken sofa, while Li Xiao was cleaning the machine gun in his hand. Both of them were nonchalantly chatting. That Firehammer squad sure has no balls. Last time they met us, they directly ran straight back to the resupplying base. No wonder we couldn't find them no matter how long we searched, insulted Zhang Zhe, who, as he said. Li Xiao laughed coldly. They can escape for now, but not forever. Since we're enemies now, they're dead for sure. Zhang Zhe, who sneered. They think they can fight against us with just them? Zhang Zhe, whose face slightly changed, and Li Xiao's face also slightly changed. I felt like there was something just now. Zhang Zhe, who looked towards Li Xiao. Li Xiao also frowned as he said, I also felt something. Since fighters are always on the border of life and death, they'll have some feeling in their heart when they encounter danger. And they had such an obvious feeling because Luo Feng scanned the room with his spiritual force. When this spiritual force spreads out, regular people have a hard time noticing it, but powerful fighters will still have some feeling of it. Could there be a monster outside? Said Zhang Zhe, who quietly. Probably. Li Xiao nodded. Even though we cleaned up all the monsters in the entire liquor store when we first came, there could still be some monster horde that just entered the store. Ka! Li Xiao held his machine gun, while Zhang Zhe, who held his machete. Both of them stood up and headed towards the door. After several dozen years of corrosion, the locks of these doors were long broken. With a light pull from Zhang Zhe, the door easily opened. And outside of the door was neither a human shadow nor a monster's shadow. Not many sounds. Zhang Zhe, and Li Xiao exchanged glances. Zhang Zhe, then took in a deep breath and cautiously started to exit the room. And then, whoosh, whoosh, two eerie, black lights instantly appeared in front of Zhang Zhe, and Li Xiao. One of the eerie, black lights instantly drew across Zhang Zhe, whose left arm, and instantly cut his left arm off. After cutting the arm off, without slowing down, it instantly drew across Gunner Li Xiao's neck, causing Li Xiao's head to fly up. And the second eerie, black light instantly drew across Zhang Zhe, whose throat. Poochie! Poochie! Fresh blood poured out. Zhang Zhe, whose eyes were wide open, but he couldn't make a sound. These two black lights were way too fast. There was probably only 1 or 2 meters between Zhang Zhe, and the black light, and Li Xiao was only 3 or 4 meters away from it. In such a short distance, against a speed even faster than a bullet fired from a sniper rifle, how could they dodge? Maybe an advanced level warlord would have a chance of survival, but as for them, they didn't even have the tiniest chance. Zhang Zhe, who wanted to speak, but he couldn't make a sound. He wanted to press his tactical communications watch, but his left arm was already cut off and the tactical communications watch was on the ground. I'm gonna die? How? How could I die? Zhang Zhe, who grabbed his throat with his right hand. As fresh blood crazily poured outside from his throat, he could clearly feel his life slowly fading away. How could this happen? How could this happen? Suddenly, a shadow appeared at the door, wearing a fighter's battle uniform, alloyed boots, and had a shield and blade on his back. His 2 eyes were coldly staring at him. Zhang Zhe, whose eyes instantly became round as he stared, as he couldn't believe which fighter was in front of him. Luo Feng. It was actually Luo Feng. It was actually that rookie Luo Feng who he didn't take seriously at all. You go on first. The other members of the Tiger Feng squad will join you soon enough. Luo Feng's voice rang. Zhang Zhe, whose mouth was wide open, but with his throat slit, he couldn't say anything at all. And as Zhang Zhe, who felt his vision starting to fade, the 2 eerie, black lights returned to Luo Feng and hovered in front of him. Clearly, they were 2 throwing knives. The 2 throwing knives just hovered like this, and then landed inside Luo Feng's thighs pockets. Ah! Zhang Zhe, whose eyes were wide open as if he wanted to say something, but his body froze and instantly, lifelessly fell to the ground. Before dying, He finally realized Luo Feng's biggest secret, Luo Feng, was actually a spirit reader. Before dying, Zhang Zhe, who saw the grave, nightmarish future of all the members of his Tiger Fong squad. Silence. Only the drip sound from the blood hitting the ground rang throughout the room. There was no other sound. The two corpses just lay there, and Luo Feng silently stood there as he looked. Zhang Zhe, who Luo Feng lowered his head as he looked at the person in front of him. Right from the start, Zhang Zhe, who thought he was a seasoned veteran while Luo Feng was just a rookie. So that's why he didn't lower his head at all when they were discussing about Zhang Haobai's case. And it was then that Luo Feng's spiritual force awakened. That argument was just a small case. If you want a reason, then blame the time where the Tiger Fong squad tried to kill everyone in the Firehammer squad. Thankfully, Luo Feng managed to save everyone in the end, but even so, Zhang Ke still lost his arm. Because of that, the Firehammer squad clenched their teeth as they swore for revenge. The Tiger Fong squad also feared that the enemy would grow strong, so they tried to destroy them completely. Both of squads wouldn't rest until one side was dead. With Zhang Zhe, Hu, and Li Zhao's death, there are still 4 members of the 6 Tiger Fong squad members remaining. Luo Feng stood at the door as he thought to himself, once they come back here and realize that these 2 have been killed, they'll certainly get cautious and think about the various possibilities. Then, I have to decorate this scene and trick them. It's up to the heavens whether or not this works. Luo Feng swiftly rushed down the stairs, all the way from the 6th floor to the 1st floor to the entrance of the liquor store. Luo Feng looked around the area. There aren't many large monster packs nearby. How annoying! Luo Feng frowned as he could see a few monsters around with just a glance, but there weren't enough monsters. For his plan, he wants to trick the other 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad into thinking that Zhang Zhe, Hu, and Li Xiao were killed by monsters. After that, Luo Feng sprinted along the alley towards the outer area. After leaving the alley, with a glance, he noticed a large horde of horned boars. There were at least 100 of them. If a regular fighter saw this, they probably wouldn't even have time to run away. But Luo Feng let out a smile. It'll be them. Luo Feng swiftly got closer to them. Howl! Quite a few horned boars were staring at this human fighter. One enraged roar carried from the horde, which was from the leader of this horned boar horde. Suddenly, all the horned boars spread out and crazily rushed towards Luo Feng. In an instant, the entire street started rumbling. Rumble, the horned boar horde came rushing. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. I was going to kill 1 or 2 monsters first to make them hate me first. I didn't know it would be this easy to get them to chase after me. Luo Feng turned around and started running away. He quickly headed towards the alley and started running in there. Rumble, the alley was quite wide, so 2 horned boars could run in it side by side. Luo Feng was sprinting ahead while the horde of horned boars were crazily chasing from behind. Poochie! Poochie! 2 eerie black lights flew around a circle and returned to Luo Feng. The 2 horned boars in front of the horde instantly died, and another horned boar behind them also had a gigantic wound. At this time, the horned boars' enraged howls became even louder, showing that they were clearly even more enraged. The angrier the better. Luo Feng, like lightning, went up the stairs past the back door of the liquor store. Rumble! The horned boars crazily flew up the stairs one by one. The quality of the concrete making up the stairs was pretty good. Even after a dozen years, it can still support the running of the horned boars. Luo Feng purposefully ran ahead the horde by around 10 meters and rushed to his destination 6th floor. After arriving at the 6th floor, under the effects of Luo Feng's spiritual force, Zhang Zhe, Hu's machete, and Li Zhao's machine gun started hovering. The machine gun even dragged along the long bullet chain with it. The machine gun floated in front of Luo Feng, and so did the machete. Howl! The monsters, like a flood, rushed into the 6th floor. Each of them went along the hallway as they crazily charged towards Luo Feng. Come at me! Luo Feng sneered, and a crazed light appeared in his eye. His spiritual force pulled the trigger, and the large barrel of the machine gun started roaring as it crazily fired bullets out one by one. The force of each boar's charge was absurd, So even though the bullets crazily shot into the horned boars, they couldn't make them stop. Poochie! Poochie! The floating machete started crazily dancing around, drawing across the throats of the horned boars one after another. The bodies of the boars that lost control started slamming into the walls. Rumble. The wall started splitting apart after getting slammed into so many times. With the power of both the machine gun and the machete, dozens of horned boars were killed in a breath. The hallway was filled with corpses. Howl! An enraged roar came. A huge horned boar with black spots and shining silver fur appeared. However, the machete and machine gun already fell beside the two corpses in the room, and Luo Feng himself has long jumped out the northern window. Whoosh! Luo Feng shot down the window like lightning and, using his spiritual force on both of his arm guards, created an uplifting force which slowed him down. Luo Feng easily landed on the roof of a two-story building, sprinted right into an alley, and quickly disappeared. Howl! The horned boar horde, which lost a couple dozen monsters, madly rammed the insides of the liquor store as they tried to find that damned human fighter. They didn't find the human fighter, but they did find two fresh human fighter corpses. These horned boars then immediately crazily chewed up the flesh of these corpses. To horned boars, the flesh of humans is indeed a delicacy. Even more horned boars went for the corpses of the dead horned boars. For the monsters that live in such cruel environments, they are rarely able to eat any humans, so they mostly eat other monsters' corpses. For especially savage monsters, eating corpses from the same species is very normal. Whether the human corpses or the horned boar corpses, they quickly became a pile of crushed bones. Luo Feng snuck back to his original spot and watched silently. The 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad will probably come back in around 2 hours. Luo Feng finally saw the 7 people in his field of vision. Well, yeah, you could hear the roars of the monsters everywhere in number 003 city, and the battle just now occurred in the liquor store. Since the Thunderbolt squad is only a few miles away, it'll be weird if they didn't notice. In front of the liquor store, the 7 high-spirited members of the Thunderbolt squad laughed as they returned. Young Master's blade, just now, was beautiful. It so accurately drew across the throat of that commander-level monster. Rapid Wolf, the captain of the Tiger Fong squad, smiled as he praised, but his expression suddenly froze. The Tiger Fong captain looked towards the interior of the liquor store, and the other members of the Thunderbolt squad did the same. The scent of blood, the old veteran named Lu directly walked into the liquor store, and the others followed. The scent of blood became stronger. A large-scale battle happened here. 1 or 2 monsters can't have such a heavy scent of blood, the Tiger Fong captain frowned, and the one-eyed middle-aged man beside him immediately pressed his tactical communications watch and yelled, "Tiger, Xiao. Tiger, Xiao, both of you hurry and respond." What happened? N/O/vel/B//in.C//om. The faces of the 4 members of the Tiger Fong squad all changed. Captain, they didn't reply. The one-eyed middle-aged man looked towards his captain. Maybe they didn't notice that their watches were vibrating. The bald brute couldn't help but to say, "Fighters are all extremely sensitive. How can they not notice?" The Tiger Fong captain said quietly, "Let's go take a look upstairs." "Go, let's go see," the old veteran named Lu also commanded. Soon, the 7 of them all arrived at the staircase, but after seeing the marks on the staircase in front of them, all of their faces changed slightly. Clearly, this staircase was just stomped on by a huge amount of monsters. Quite a bit of the concrete was already split open. "Everyone be careful." The 7 of them carefully and slowly moved forward. Even though they went slowly, they arrived at the 6th floor without spending too much time. "Who?" The 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad all took in a deep breath. The entire 6th floor of the liquor store was clearly a huge mess. The walls of the rooms of the liquor store were smashed to pieces. The floor was filled with marks of blood, and there were large amounts of crushed bones from corpses, most of them being from monsters. All the hearts of the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad sank. They knew that Zhang, Hu, and Li Xiao weren't lucky today. Look, there are even bullet holes on the wall. There are quite a few bullet shells on the ground. Xiao probably fired his machine gun to try and stop the monster horde. Sadly, there were just too many of them. Everyone quickly found various marks. Soon after, everyone looked at the ripped-up battle uniform, the slightly deformed machete, the completely smashed-up machine gun, and a few human bones. Tiger's machete and Zhao's gun. These two battle uniforms. The battle uniforms were extremely sturdy. Even though they were chewed up by the horned boars and were in tatters, they could still be made out. They were precisely Zhang Zhe, Hu, and Li Zhao's battle uniforms. How could this happen? The bald brute couldn't help but to clench his teeth as he said. Tiger and Xiao were in their room. How could they be so unlucky to meet a hungry monster horde? Let's go downstairs, the old veteran named Lu suddenly ordered. Downstairs, the one-eyed middle-aged man, the bald brute, and Dong were all shocked, and then were slightly angry. The Tiger Fong captain frowned as he ordered, "All right, tidy up Tiger and Zhao's remains, and then go downstairs." Since their captain gave an order, of course they wouldn't dare to refuse. Moments later, the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad stood in the lobby of the liquor store's first floor. Everyone should know the Tiger Fong captain, Panya, said quietly, with Tiger and Xiao being as cautious as they are. Even if a monster horde enters the liquor store, they should have had over a 50% chance of escaping. Even if they couldn't escape, they should have been able to contact us once they noticed danger. The faces of the other members slightly changed and couldn't help but to nod their heads. Indeed, the old veteran named Lu nodded and said, "It's suspicious because these two didn't contact us at all before dying. So I'm worried that someone purposefully set up the scene and left a listening device at the scene. That's why I brought everyone downstairs to discuss about this." The other members of the Tiger Fong squad couldn't help but to respect the old veteran named Lu even more. To be able to instantly find the problem and make his decision, old veterans are clearly more experienced. This is one possibility. The other possibility is the commander-level monster in the monster horde. Once they found the traces of those two, they sneakily attacked them. Huge amounts of monsters rushing upstairs. Under such an urgent situation, the two of them didn't have the chance to contact us. The old veteran named Lu continued speaking. The 4 members of the Tiger Fong squad exchanged glances. The mixed youth let out a worried expression, and the old veteran named Lu laughed as he quietly said, "Don't worry, young master. Even if someone made this scene, he isn't necessarily targeting you. War God fighters wouldn't use such tactics, and warlord fighters wouldn't dare mess with you. Senior Lu, taking the young master's safety into consideration, we should return back to the headquarters city," spoke the Tiger Fong captain, Panya. The scent of blood that emanated around the liquor store filled the heart of Panya, the Tiger Fong captain, with anxiety. Their death could have been caused by monsters. But it's even more likely that a fighter was behind this. And what kind of regular fighter would dare to go against young Master Li Wei? They most likely have a grudge against my Tiger Fong squad. He was clear of this young master's identity. Even though he's a mixed youth, his father is Chinese. Whether the strength of the young master's father or his background, few fighters would dare to anger this young Master Li Wei. No need, the old veteran Lu waved his hand. With me and Ka Long here, the young master's safety is guaranteed. The white brute also looked at the few members of the Tiger Fong squad and laughed coldly. Young Master Li Pan, you couldn't help but to look at the mixed youth. "My training schedule isn't over yet," frowned the mixed youth. Senior Lu slightly frowned as he said, "Fighters always walk on the border between life and death. How can you be so afraid about some uncertainties? If you're always so afraid, how can you ever accomplish anything in the future?" Panya and the others said nothing. "You guys can just keep following us." Wouldn't that work? When Senior Lu said this, Panya and the other members of the Tiger Fong exchanged glances. All of them abandoned the thought of returning to the headquarters city. They were clear that following 2 advanced warlords was indeed very safe. Senior Lu is right. If we're always so afraid, can we even be considered as fighters? Even if someone is actually after us, right when we find him, we'll kill him directly. A cold light flashed across Panya's eyes. "We'll listen to Senior Lu," the one-eyed middle-aged man laughed as he said. The members of the Tiger Fong squad all signaled that they'll listen to Senior Lu. "This place is full of the scent of blood. Let's switch a location," said Senior Lu. Immediately, the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad left the JJ liquor chain store. Luo Feng silently watched with his binoculars from his original location. They indeed left the JJ liquor chain store. The 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad left the store and went along the street for quite a bit, and then disappeared from Luo Feng's field of vision. "Shit, this villa isn't high enough, so I can't see that far." Luo Feng swiftly got his backpack, shield, and blade and flew out the villa like a jaguar. He sprinted at an astounding speed and directly rushed into the tall apartment building across the street. This apartment building was 18 stories tall. With Luo Feng's shield and blade all affected by his spiritual force, Luo Feng's speed was shocking. A shadow continuously dashed up the stairs. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Within a few seconds, he went from the first floor to the 18th floor. In one of the rooms on the 18th floor, Luo Feng stood beside the northern window and looked down through his binoculars. From such a high location, he was able to see further. He quickly found the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad walking along the street. These 7 people walked along for quite a bit, and then finally entered a broken residential apartment that was 6 stories tall. "I wonder if the scene I made had any effect," Luo Feng squinted. "Whether it works or not is up to the heavens. I'll keep waiting for my chance." Luo Feng started his days of watching again. As a fighter, you first need enough patience and determination. Without either of them, how could you ever achieve astonishing power? Naturally, Luo Feng was fine with watching alone. On the first day, the Thunderbolt squad went hunting during the afternoon. This time, all 7 of them left together. The second day, the Thunderbolt squad went out in the morning and afternoon, allowing their mixed youth young master to train. Like before, the 7 of them left together, giving Luo Feng no chance. The third day, they still went out in the morning and afternoon. "Looks like this Tiger Feng squad is actually suspicious." Luo Feng sat on the bed that he already slightly cleaned and silently looked through the window. As of now, the sky was dark and filled with stars. The starlight shone into the room through the window. The air was slightly filled with the scent of blood. "What should I do?" Luo Feng frowned. "If it keeps going on like this, then that mixed youth young master's training schedule will finish and might return back to the headquarters city." Ring. Luo Feng felt the tactical communications watch on his wrist vibrate slightly. When he looked down, he saw that it was a phone call from his brother. "Recall," commanded Luo Feng. "Beep, beep, beep, hello, bros." Luo Hua's voice came from the watch. "Luo Hua, how come you're calling me?" A smile filled Luo Feng's face, as he was extremely happy. Hunting down other people in the wilderness all alone is lonely. To be able to chat with his family, his entire heart felt warm. "I've just been thinking about you, bro." Luo Hua was clearly relaxed and happy. "Bro, I've recently made a ton of money from my stocks again. It feels great." "Oh, how did you get the money?" laughed Luo Feng as he asked. Luo Hua excitedly said, 6 of the 8 stocks that I've been dealing with are quality stocks, while the other 2 are investment ones. The quality stocks are great and earn me lots of money every year. But out of these 6 stocks, one of them started plunging in value rapidly. I was so scared and thought something went wrong with the company. After looking into it, I didn't find anything wrong with it. Geez, if this happened to my investment stocks, then I would probably cut my flesh off. But I have faith in these quality stocks, and I'd rather hold on to them for a long period of time. And since I didn't find anything wrong with the company, there's nothing for me to be afraid of. If it drops, I'll buy it. It kept falling continuously. It dropped for like a dozen days and lost 50% of its value. I virtually took 80% of all my money and threw it at those stocks. Who could have knew that it would start flying up in value these past few days? Within 20 days, not only did it return to its original value, but it even went a bit higher. Geez, just from this, I could basically double my money. Haha, feels great. Luo Feng could feel his brother's excitement from the tone coming from the watch. Nice, way better than your brother. Luo Feng laughed as he complimented. Don't you have around 100 million right now? He gave his brother 50 million last time, so Luo Hua should have around 80 million. Yeah, now it's around 170 million, laughed Luo Hua. Bro, this is all thanks to the money you gave me. If my principal wasn't great enough, how could I earn so much money? Since he doubled the money. If he only had 10,000, he would only have 20,000 in total. But since he had around 80 to 90 million, he turned it into 170 to 180 million. This is also why people say that your first 100 million is the hardest to earn, while your second 100 million is way easier to earn. You're good. Your brother has been hunting in the wilderness for around 2 months, but I only earned around 100 million each, said Luo Feng. But in his heart, he was amazed. Playing around with stocks earns tons of money. You're making money with money. The more money you have, the more money you earn. Of course, you could potentially lose tons of money too. However, bro, these chances don't come around often, laughed Luo Hua. Luo Hua has been playing around with stocks for years already, so making this much money in such a short time is indeed quite rare. Luo Feng thought to himself while he operated his tactical communications watch. He entered his bank account and transferred 180 million to his brother's account. Ah, exclaimed Luo Hua in a surprised tone. Bro, my account. Your brother just made a ton of money recently, so that's for you. Work hard and use them in the stock market. If one day you reach 15 billion, your brother will give you a huge surprise, said Luo Feng as he laughed. Luo Feng never told his brother about the elixir of life, since that thing is too expensive. But according to Luo Feng's plan, if he and his brother both earn money, he can give some of his money to his brother, and his brother can use that money to make even more money. If they keep making money out of money, then maybe reaching 30 billion isn't impossible. 15 billion, exclaimed Luo Hua. Don't worry, I'll keep lending you money, laughed Luo Feng. Maybe then, his money and Luo Hua's money combined will reach 30 billion. After he gets the money, he'll think of a way to purchase the elixir of life so that his brother can stand up again. Okay, bro, I'll work hard, said Luo Hua in a confident tone. Okay, laughed Luo Feng. Well, you should rest earlier. Okay, bro, be careful in the wilderness. The two brothers quickly finished their call. Mingyue's sector, Luo Feng's home. In his brother's room on the first floor, Luo Hua excitedly closed his phone and started chatting on his computer. Wow, looks like you're having fun, smiled a young girl on the screen. Hee hee, of course I'm happy, Luo Hua excitedly chatted with this young girl on the screen. This young girl's cheeks were like a baby's and had small ears and short hair. She seemed like a very bright and pure girl. She is Luo Hua's girlfriend, Xiaonan. Since Xiaonan's college is right here, even if she's a college student, she's still sleeping at home. Xiaonan was currently in her bedroom, chatting with Luo Hua through her computer. And outside of her room, in the living room, a middle-aged couple was currently sitting on the sofas in the living room. Even though they were watching TV, neither of them were focusing on it. What should we do? The middle-aged woman said hurriedly. You know Xiaonan's temper. If we split them apart by force, she'll surely hate us. If she wants to hate us, then let her. This is for her own good. The middle-aged man couldn't help but to angrily say, she never went through any sort of hardship since she was young. Does she still think she's living in a fairy tale? We aren't extremely rich, but we're still living a good life. Our girl has nice looks, so why is she with a handicapped person? That handicapped person's brother is a fighter. But so, what if he's a fighter? It's not like his brother is in a relationship with our girl. No matter what, I can't watch our girl jump into a fiery pit like this. If it wasn't for Old Lee, I never would have known that our girl was dating that Mingyue sector's handicapped person behind our backs. I'm so infuriated right now, the middle-aged man's face was livid. The middle-aged woman hurriedly said, don't be angry. No matter how angry you get, it's no use. You only have this one daughter, so what can you do? Most importantly, we should think of a way to separate our daughter with that handicapped person and try our best not to hurt our daughter's feelings. I understand. The middle-aged man was then silent with a frown on his face as he smoked. The smoke from the cigarette emanated around the room, and the room remained silent for a while. The only sound was the tick-tock from the mechanical clock. The second morning, number 003 city was filled with a deathly, cold air as usual, and the usual heart-chilling monster roar carried from the city from time to time. If we say Jiangnan City is a technologically advanced city teeming with life, then this city that used to be the greatest city of China a few decades ago is now a playground for the monsters. Here, you could see the stains of blood and corpses anywhere and everywhere. This is the monster den. In that 18-story apartment that was filled with dust, Luo Feng, in his battle uniform, held his binoculars as he looked down in one hand and ate a skewer of meat on another hand, taking a bite and chewing twice before he swallowed. Chew, swallow. In the aged room, it was clearly quiet. There was only the sound of Luo Feng's chewing. Gulp, gulp. Luo Feng took out his water sack and drank a bit. After a moment, he took another drink. Luo Feng didn't bring too much food and water to the wilderness, so he has to conserve a bit every day. All 7 of them together again. Luo Feng looked through his binoculars and clearly saw that the 7 of them left the 6-story apartment building together under the morning mist. Luo Feng frowned as he angrily threw his binoculars on top of the bed on the side. Luo Feng massaged his temples and spent the whole day stooping. His eyes were extremely tired. All 7 of them together every day. They don't give me even the slightest chance, frowned Luo Feng. At this rate, I'll have to keep waiting until that young master finishes his training plan. When that happens, I would have wasted all my time waiting. What should I do? Luo Feng quickly started thinking, since he hasn't even had a single chance to take action. Is he just going to wait like this? There are no chances. Luo Feng's eyes flashed, and he clenched his teeth. Since there aren't any chances, then I can make them. Aren't they always together? I'll force them to separate. Luo Feng lightly tightened the cap on the water sack. Around 3 hours later, the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad carefully treaded forward in the old den of the monsters. Sometimes they move forward, sometimes they walk around, and finally they arrived at the 6-story residential apartment from before. Time to act. Luo Feng, who was fully equipped, slightly smiled as he left his room and ran down the stairs like a swift monkey. Even Luo Feng can't be too cocky after leaving this 18-story residential building, so he carefully moved forward while searching the area. Avoiding monsters is hard, but finding them is easy. 15 minutes later, Luo Feng arrived at a dog-type monster horde that had around 2,000 to 3,000 monsters. This dog-type monster horde was staying in a gigantic factory that manufactured home appliances. Usually, no human fighter would even try to challenge such a horde, since the threat of 2,000 to 3,000 monsters is too great. Roar! The roars of the large monsters echoed around the factory, and the smell of urine emanated around the area. NOV. L. B // JNN. What a strong monster horde. Luo Feng looked through the cap of the wall. Let's begin. Soon after. Roar! Roar, roar, roar. The monsters in the factory howled madly. The death of a few dozen monsters caused this huge monster horde to become enraged because they have never suffered such shame before. Even the leader of the monster horde and 2 high-level commander-level lion mastiffs started howling. The entire monster horde crazily chased after. They sure run fast. The hexagonal shield on Luo Feng's back was under effects of the powerful force of his spiritual force. In an instant, Luo Feng became a flying hurricane. Rumble. Some tiger mastiffs were mixed into the lion mastiff horde. The tiger mastiffs ran just as quickly as the lion mastiffs as they chased after Luo Feng. The ones in the front of the horde were sprinting at a rate of 70 to 80 meters per second. Under such astonishing speed, it would take only 30 seconds for them to cover the 4 miles between the factory and the 6-story residential building. Just 30 seconds, and Luo Feng ran towards the 6-story residential building like lightning. In one of the suite rooms on the 6th floor of the 6-story residential apartment, the 7 members of Thunderbolt Squad were resting. Actually, when the entire monster horde was howling as they chased after Luo Feng, the 7 members of the Thunderbolt Squad weren't alerted at all. Because what kind of place in the city doesn't have a monster howling in a 4-mile radius? But after around 10 seconds, seems like a battle has occurred to our east, laughed the one-eyed middle-aged man. Who cares? There's always a fight going on between fighters and monster hordes here in number 003 city. This time, A fighter probably enraged some monster horde. The Tiger Fawn captain, Panya, was completely calm. Since he has dozens of years of experience as a fighter, he has seen this type of scenario way too many times. But in the time that these words were passed around, the monster horde seems to be really close to us now. Even the building is shaking a bit. Within an instant, the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad rushed towards the northern window and looked down, and saw that there were large amounts of mastiff monsters near the entrance to the staircase of the 6-story residential apartment. Some of the lion mastiff monsters were even charging into the staircase. In just these few seconds, the entire residential apartment started shaking, like an earthquake was occurring. The roars of many monsters also echoed around. Boom! The door to the room where the 7 members of the Thunderbolt squad were in was blasted open. The lion mastiffs with their SUV-sized bodies charged in the room one by one. Not only was the door directly smashed into smithereens, but even the walls were startling to crumble. The over 1,000 monsters were continuously smashing the residential building up. It seemed like the building could fall down at any moment. And outside of the residential building were around 1,000 to 2,000 more lion mastiff monsters. These lion mastiff monsters can't even enter the building, so they just surrounded the residential apartment completely. If you can imagine a scene where 1,000 to 2,000 SUVs are surrounding a building, then you can imagine how scary it'll be for so many monsters to surround a residential apartment. What's going on? The mixed youth immediately started screaming as his face turned pale. Anyone would panic after witnessing the apartment building that has shook so much that it's on the verge of collapse. The large amounts of monsters pouring into the room, and the densely packed horde of monsters surrounding the residential apartment building below. Protect the young master. Tiger Fong squad, protect the rear, roared the old veteran named Liu. Da-da-da-da. Dong Zi's machine gun was crazily roaring, and the bullet shells crazily flew around. The powerful bullets shot into the bodies of the lion mastiff monsters one by one. The monsters were charging so quickly that even when they were hit by the bullets, they would continue charging forwards. The bald brute, the one-eyed man, and the Tiger Fawn Captain Panya relied on their cold weapons to smash the monsters to the side one by one. Pung! 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 The old veteran named Liu and the white brute already brought the mixed youth along with them as they directly jumped out the window. Let's go! The Tiger Fawn captain roared and was the first to follow as he jumped from the window. Dongzi, hurry! Roared the one-eyed man. When comparing physical fitness, gunners are the weakest. The gunner, Dongzi, also clenched his teeth as he jumped out the window. Finally, the one-eyed middle-aged man and the bald brute also jumped out the window. Even if a beginner-level warlord fighter is carrying several hundred kg of things on him, they wouldn't suffer any injury from jumping from a height of 6 stories. However, the thing awaiting them below isn't a flat ground, but over 1,000 monsters. The walls of the second floor of the residential apartment were already smashed into pieces, and Luo Feng was hiding in the corner of a room on the second floor. When Luo Feng rushed into this room, he used his spiritual force to control the concrete walls, the stone tables, etc. to completely seal the bathroom he is in, and he even broke the ceiling. After the concrete fell down, the room was completely ruined, so even after the monsters charged in, they wouldn't be able to find Luo Feng. After that, the monster horde spotted the Thunderbolt squad on the 6th floor and directed all their attention onto them. Standing beside the bathroom's window, Luo Feng stared outside, and his ears were listening closely. They're fighting. Luo Feng heard a few faint roars from the 6th floor. After that, 3 shadows quickly fell from above. They jumped, Luo Feng's eyes flashed, and 2 black throwing knives immediately hovered beside him. Out of the 3 shadows, the first to fall was the old veteran named Liu and the mixed youth, followed by the white brute. Closely following them was the captain of the Tiger Fong squad, Panya. Howl! Protect the young master. Charge out. Right when the old veteran named Liu landed, his legs smashed onto 2 nearby lion mastiff monsters like 2 war axes. The 2 lion mastiff monsters howled in pain as they flew away and smashed into 7 or 8 nearby lion mastiff lion and tigers, causing chaos in the area for a moment. The white brute had a gigantic 2-handed sword in hand as he crazily charged forward. The tiger captain, Panya, supported the white brute beside him. One of them had unrivaled strength while the other was sinister and unpredictable. The two of them combined were like a bulldozer, sweeping away the monsters in front of them. Howl! A low, thunder-like sound started rumbling. Not too far away, a huge body that was around 4 to 5 meters tall and even larger than an average truck appeared. Its whole body was silver and was even slightly reflecting light, since there were some silver scales on its fur. There was a small bump on its huge forehead, as if it was going to break its fur open. This is one of the 2 high-level commander-level monsters in the whole horde. A high-level commander lion mastiff. Boom! With just a leap, the commander lion mastiff flew a distance of 20 meters like a silver light and shot straight towards the Thunderbolt squad. Panya, you protect the young master and hurry up and run, roared the old veteran named Lu. With a blade in hand, he howled, K long. Understood. The white brute also roared. The old veteran named Lu and the white brute engaged the commander lion mastiff at virtually the same time. There was no helping it. If they didn't engage it, then the mixed youth would be in grave danger. Howl! The commander lion mastiff roared, and its body started to blur a bit as its claws headed straight towards the 2 humans in front of it. Chong! Quang! Boom! The clash between the 2 advanced-level warlords and the high-level commander-level monster caused chaos. The surrounding lion mastiffs were caught in and blown away. Even the surrounding walls and the floor was affected and messed up. With large amounts of lion mastiff monsters supporting, the commander lion mastiff was practically even with the veteran named Lu and the white brute. Pong! 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 The gunner Dong Zi, the bald brute, and the one-eyed middle-aged man also jumped out at this time. However, the one-eyed middle-aged man, the bald brute, and the gunner Dong Zi were all panicking. The group of the old veteran named Lu, the white brute, the mixed youth, and Panya were able to mess around in the monster horde, but the one-eyed middle-aged man and the others were clearly having a hard time. Hurry, let's go, said the one-eyed middle-aged man. Hurry! Dada dada. Dong Zi dragged his machine gun along as he freely fired at the surrounding monsters. At this time, howl! After the heart-shuddering howl, another huge body that was also completely silver came jumping down from the 6-story apartment. Suddenly, the lion mastiff leader that was fighting against the old veteran named Lu and the white brute immediately started roaring excitedly as it conversed with the huge shadow coming from above. Another lion mastiff leader, also a high-level commander. The faces of the old veteran named Lu and the white brute changed drastically. They glanced at the tiger fawn captain Panya and the mixed youth who were already far away. When the 2 of them were stalling the large amounts of monsters, Panya and the mixed youth were able to get away. Hurry, go! Go! The white brute and the old veteran named Lu didn't dare to delay at all. Even without the monster horde, they couldn't go head-to-head with 2 high-level commander monsters. And there's a gigantic monster horde surrounding them. Howl! Howl! The 2 high-level commander-level lion mastiff leaders roared as they charged. Would they allow these 2 damn humans to get away? On the 2nd floor of the ruined 6-story residential apartment, Luo Feng watched what was going on outside through the window silently. The white brute and the old veteran named Lu ran away while the one-eyed middle-aged man, the bald brute, and Dong Zi were still bitterly charging out. Luo Feng let out a smile on his face. Now's the time. 2 black, throwing knives instantly flew out from the window towards the one-eyed middle-aged man and the bald brute in the horde of the lion mastiff monsters. It's better like this. If he fought out in the open, then the one-eyed middle-aged man who has reached the intermediate warlord level could put up a bit of a fight, but under this ambush... Pew! Pew! The brains of the one-eyed middle-aged man and the bald brute were instantly pierced and blew up like watermelons. Soon after, the 2 eerie black lights virtually instantly pierced through the head of the gunner Dong Zi, who was currently crazily shooting his machine gun. When the 3 of them died, they were filled with fear, question, and dissatisfaction. They didn't even know what killed them. Rumble. The 3 human corpses were instantly charged at by the large amounts of monsters. The lion mastiff and tiger mastiff monsters excitedly ripped apart their flesh. In the bathroom on the second floor, Luo Feng quietly watched the two lion mastiff leaders charge after the old veteran named Lu and the white brute. Out of the 6 members of the Tiger Fong squad, 5 of them are already dead. Good, all according to plan. Even though I was the one behind this, their clueless Luo Feng was satisfied with what he has done so far, since he doesn't want to hurt that mixed youth. As long as you aren't dumb, you can figure out that the power behind the mixed youth is great. So, Luo Feng didn't attack the members of the Tiger Fong squad when they were with the young master. However, because of the monster horde's attack, the 7 members of the squad split into 3. Running in front was the mixed youth and Panya. Being chased by the 2 high-level commander monsters was the old veteran named Lu and the white brute, while the last section was the one-eyed middle-aged man and the others. Because the mixed youth, the old veteran named Lu, and the white brute have ran far away already, they couldn't see what was going on with the one-eyed middle-aged man and the others at all, which was why Luo Feng chose that time to strike. However, the young master is probably in big trouble this time, Luo Feng thought to himself. However, suddenly, a blurry shadow of a human appeared in Luo Feng's field of vision. This human was carrying some type of staff-type weapon. With a flash, he covered a few hundred meters and charged straight into the monster horde. Rumble! A shocking blasting sound carried out, and the dozens of lion mastiffs and tiger mastiffs around Panya and the mixed youth instantly turned into piles of flesh. The speed that surpassed the speed of sound caused the blasting sound. The shadow moved again. It directly arrived in front of the 2 lion mastiff leaders. The 2 lion mastiff leaders immediately let out an astonished howl and, surprisingly, started to run away. Boom! The staff-type weapon harshly smashed onto the body of one of the lion mastiff leaders like lightning. The silver lion mastiff leader was launched up by around 20 meters, and all the scales on its body completely split open. Fresh blood sprayed around in the air, and while this lion mastiff was launched up by around 20 meters, boom! The shadow instantly chased after the other lion mastiff leader, and also gave it a ferocious smash. The lion mastiff leader was like a thrown bowling ball as it was launched away and then smashed into the large amounts of lion mastiffs and tiger mastiffs behind it. The lion mastiffs that were near were directly shocked to death, while the other large amounts of lion mastiffs and tiger mastiffs were smashed away. As for the high-level commander-level lion mastiff leader, it rolled on the ground a few times and then stopped moving completely. Large amounts of blood came pouring from its nose and ears. Boom! And at this time, the lion mastiff leader that was launched high up into the air came crashing down onto the ground, not moving an inch. In an instant, 2 high-level commander-level monsters instantly dead. N/O/vel/B//and.C//OM. AOWU. All the lion mastiffs, tiger mastiffs, and some other low-level commander-level monsters were completely shocked. All of them wailed as they all started running away. Only at this time did the shadow start to take up more of a form. Luo Feng just saw what the guy looked like. A huge brute that was around 2.3 to 2.4 meters tall, and a face that looked like it was sculpted. He wore a completely gray battle uniform and held a gigantic mace. One can't help but to shiver after seeing the spikes on that mace. Too messed up. Luo Feng looked at the 2 lifeless lion mastiff leaders' corpses and was completely stunned. He was so shocked that he didn't even dare to breathe loudly. This is a war god level fighter. It must be. I should be careful. If he finds me here, then there'll be trouble. Even the throwing knives that were originally shot out under Luo Feng's will dug into the ground. Luo Feng was too scared to retrieve them. Uncle Li. The mixed youth came running over and thanked him repeatedly. Mr. Li. The old veteran named Lu and the white brute respectfully bowed. The large brute laughed as he looked at the mixed youth. Li Wei, when your dad received your SOS signal and found your location, there were 2 war gods nearby, me and Brother Yuan. He quickly contacted me first. Luckily, I wasn't too far away, so I could make it in time. Uncle Wang is here too. The eyes of the mixed youth flashed with light. At this time, as if a wind blew past, a blurry shadow appeared in the vicinity. After stabilizing, a handsome person who seemed to be around 20 to 30 years old, wearing a blue battle uniform, appeared. "Uncle Wang," the mixed youth yelled. "Look at your shameful self," said the man as he slightly laughed. The white brute and the old veteran named Lu didn't dare to make a sound on the side, while the tiger fawn Captain Panya was looking around the area. When he saw that there were some battle uniforms, remains from corpses, and a machine gun lying on the ground, his eyes couldn't help